Welcome everybody tonight. This is a regular meeting for the Rockcastle County Board of Education. We want to welcome all of our guests, and which Casey, I don't think we can consider you a guest anymore. You just
I've been around a long time.
but it's always good to see everybody. The first thing on our agenda tonight is to call the meeting to order, and we have a moment of silent prayer. Amen. Let the roll call note that everyone is here. Matt, it's good I haven't said anything to you. So, reading of board team commitments, I'm going to read those tonight. Reading board team commitments for Rockcastle County Schools. To improve our effectiveness, the board team for Rockcastle County Schools commits to review processes and experiences to identify and direct improvements. Continuously define and work toward long-term goals which serve all students of the district. Make each decision based on facts and the best for all students. Listen to each other and speak freely. Work together, support each other, and not surprise one another. Discuss board deliberations to point of mutually agreeable resolution based on factual information. Support the majority's decision, projecting board unity toward shared goals for continuously improving district-wide student learning. Operate without personal or political agendas. Respect one another, agree to disagree respectfully. Delegate implementation to the superintendent and education team, and to respectfully remind each other of these commitments. Item 2 is adopt the agenda. Ms. Carey's not said anything that she needed moved. So with that being said, I need a motion to adopt the agenda.
So moved.
Second. Got a first and a second, all in favor? Now for the fun part is our school and community showcase, and we have our Gear Up annual report.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us. We really appreciate you giving us this time each year to just kind of give you an overview of Gear Up and the work that we've been doing with the students of Rockcastle County. So thank you for your time this evening. We're going to just all introduce ourselves and then we'll get started. Before I introduce myself, I do want to introduce Miss Becky Isaac. She's back here. I'm sure a lot of you know her, of course. She is a program manager with Gear Up now, and she is one of our best people in Gear Up, and she is such a help to us, and so we always appreciate her coming and supporting us. So my name is Kayla Bryant. I'm an academic interventionist at the high school, and I have been with the Gear Up grant since the beginning of this grant.
My name is Jerica Brevett. I'm a college career navigator. I started just in December with the grant, and I work with the freshmen and sophomore at the high school.
My name is Holly Bryant, and I am new with the program as well. I started actually September 1st. I am a college and career navigator as well, and I work primarily with the sophomore cohort.
And I'm Casey Mahaffey. I think most of you know who I am. And I am an academic interventionist. Sometimes I have a hard time deciding if I'm a specialist or interventionist, because the last grant I was a specialist, and this grant I'm an interventionist. So we're just going to talk a little bit about some of the objectives and things that we do as far as Gear Up goes. We do have a guiding objective that all of our money, spending, services fall under these objectives. And so I went back up to school a little bit earlier and I ran some numbers just to make some of these percentages a little bit more real for y'all. So I was just going to go over those really quick. 60% of students will exhibit overall improvement in English and math. And just to put a little bit more of a student to that percentage, over 271 students have received 20 or more hours of tutoring services in English, math, and science. So, and 20 or more hours, that would be this school year. So a lot of intense services we've been making a difference in our students. So, all right, and so we'll move down to the 2.1. 95% of our cohort will graduate from high school on time, and 60% of our will graduate from high school on time. And these are some things that we do to help ensure that. And of course, our school district, we always have a good graduation rate that I'm really proud of. So we just help support that. over 400 students of our cohort, which I think at any given time, how many would y'all say is in our cohort between our freshmen and sophomores?
Probably right around 400.
400. So 400 students have received 10 or more hours of mentoring services. And then counseling and advising at one point or time, when I ran this report, 415 students have received these services, with some students receiving, there's one student, she must catch us in like all of her classes because she has 112 hours of services from us. I'm like, she's hit the jackpot. When I was looking through her stuff, I was like, wow, she's a great kid too, but it must be like the classes I go in, the classes they all go in, she must be a student that we all hit in that class because she's had us a ton of services. All right, and she's hit the jackpot, I would have to say. 60% of our students will attend an institute of higher education, and 70% of students will graduate college within 6 years. And we do some things to really encourage that. This year, we had all of our freshmen on a college campus, actually went physically on a college campus. There was 208 students that did that. We went to Eastern Kentucky University. Thanks to Mr. Hopkins for getting us 5 buses to take those students. It was a lot of logistics, but it was really good. And pre-COVID, our sophomore class there was 422 of them have been. So really, between our freshmen and sophomores, every student that wanted to has been on a college campus, whether it's Somerset Community or EKU. And as things have started opening up, we'll be seeing more of that. And as they get a little older too, we get more individualized visits. Like if someone's interested in going to Northern, or somebody's interested in maybe cosmetology school, we will have more individualized visits with that. So we're so glad that we get to travel again and get to put our students out there, because it makes a big difference. And I can say from the last grant, a few of our students went to school at a certain college because we took them there. It makes you feel really good when you see all that come full circle. So a next objective that kind of guides a lot of our instruction is 85% of parents will indicate that they are knowledgeable about higher education pathways, including finances. So we do try to contact these parents as much as possible in a whole bunch of different ways. As our students get older, it is a little bit harder to contact the parents, but we send postcards, we call home, we have parent nights, we do a lot of those things, and we've had over 622 contacts with multiple service hours. So that would be like a student, we maybe talk to their mom and their dad, or their grandma and grandpa. So those 628 would be those contact service hours, which I always think is kind of good to put with this percentage, to put some numbers with it. I think it helps. 25% increase in the access to STEM coursework. So that's been a real push with this grant, that this year's our new grant. So 380 students have received some type of hands-on activity dealing with STEM instruction, which is really cool to know that some students have really had all that hands-on. Because a lot of our students aren't always just pencil and paper students or Chromebook students. A lot of our students are hands-on, and they really excel at that. So there's been a huge push in the last few years with that, and I feel like our high school and our grant is really doing a great job. And 90% of Gear Up students will indicate knowledge of common rights, citizenship, and civic participation. Really, I would say, guys, and y'all probably know this too, in the last 5, 6, 7 years, colleges don't just look at your transcript or your ACT score. They want to know about the whole student. I really feel like that's been, especially in the last 5 years, has been a huge push. So they want to know that, you can do the work, but they also want to know what you're doing in your community, how you're giving back. So we try to make some opportunities for our students to be able to do that. And we partnership with a lot of things that goes on with our school, but we have over 327 of our students have engaged in some type of service learning project, which is pretty good if you think about it. And then 85% of students will exhibit overall increase in personal financial understanding and responsibilities. And our CCM will talk a lot about that, because we've been doing some financial literacy units with our freshmen and sophomores. So, and Gear Up services at RCHS. So some things that we provide to Rockcastle County High School. We are a jack of all trades, masters of none, is what I always say. We do a little bit of everything. We take the students on college visits. We do educational field trips. We do a lot of mentoring, direct instruction in reading, math, and science. We can make about anything fall under reading, math, and science if we have to. We do tutoring in school. We do tutoring inside the classroom, where we go in and collaborate. We do after-school tutoring with students. We'll do before school if they need it. We do lots of tutoring. Parent services, financial workshops, literacy, we just try to get our parents involved as much as possible. And we also like I always tell the new girls, they're not really new because they've been with us a while, but I always like to say that we are the good cop. Not that there's a bad cop, but we are, we want to form those relationships with our families and our parents and let them know that we can be their liaison between, maybe that student in their grade, or maybe it's a food need or a clothing need or anything. Maybe we just want to be that safe place for them. So we're the good cop. I love to be the good cop. Sometimes I'm not always. Community service opportunities for our students, job site visits. That's been a struggle lately, is the job site visits because of COVID. We have really struggled with that in the last 2 years. So we're working on it. We've got some coming up. We've been really pushing that, but it has been a struggle lately. Career exploration, doing a great job with that. Like I said, our STEM access. We even say STEAM sometimes because we throw the arts in there with our, which is really good too. And then we really try to do a lot of leadership opportunities with our students to make them a better citizen. So it's just a little bit about what we do at RCHS. If y'all have any questions for us, y'all can ask us at the end or just whenever you want. And this is, go ahead, go. Is it me? Okay. College visit to EKU that we just went on. It was really fun. We had a great day. The students had a really good time. We just toured campus. We ate. That's usually their big highlight, is eating on campus. They love that. They really do. And honest, some kids, you have to about tell them what to do. A lot of them don't really know how to do the buffet style at a campus. So we usually give them a little course, just a, 101 course on how to eat at a college cafeteria. They love to be around the college students. They think that's so cool. So, and we visited a lot of buildings. We got to see a dorm room, which they thought was super cool. So that was the highlight that we just went on, was our college visit to EKU.
All right, so like Miss Casey said, it's been a little difficult with COVID to go on a lot of trips, but we do actually have 8 upcoming field trips, so we're really excited to get those on the roll. Actually our next one is going to be this Friday. We have some students from our leadership group. They're going to go to EKU and they're going to learn some leadership skills, and it's something that they're going to be able to bring back to our Berea Scholars group, which is our club that we have, and hopefully they can kind of implement that with the Berea Scholars, and then maybe that'll better impact the high school as well. The next trip is going to be March 23rd. So since we took the freshmen to EKU, we're going to go ahead and take some sophomores from Berea Scholars March 23rd. And that's going to be probably a pretty similar visit, just kind of getting to know the campus, getting to see the dorms, doing things like that. And I'm kind of a Gear Up student myself. I was in Gear Up back in the day, and it was great for me to get to experience the college atmosphere. I think that really encouraged and fostered that in me, so I get really excited for those visits. March 25th, the American Heart Association is kind of planning this STEM event, and it's actually geared towards girls and promoting them being in the STEM field. So we've got about 25 girls that we're going to take to that. It's girls that we feel like really enjoy science, technology, engineering, math, and maybe we can kind of foster some growth there and see if they want to go into that career such as that. Let's see, the freshmen Berea Scholars are going to go to University of the Cumberlands for a college visit. That's March 29th. So we've got a really busy March, but we're looking forward to that visit. We actually do have a job site that we're going to get to visit, Pittman's Creek. And I really like the idea of this job site because we try to hit kids that might not always be interested in, like book work or just sitting at a desk. So Pittman's Creek is a place that they sell like wholesale lures and baits, and they're a big factory type setting, but if you're kind of interested in outdoor stuff, you're a hands-on learner, it's like a great opportunity for kids like that. And so we kind of focus on kids we know that might be interested in those fields to go on that one. That's April 15th that we're going to go to Pittman's Creek.
Where's that at?
It's in Stanford. April, let's see, 18th, we are going to take some of our leadership students to CAP, And we've got some Earth Day activities for the kids there. So we're gonna do a craft with them, and we've got a book prepared. We're gonna read with them, and all the kids will get a book. And so we're excited for our Berea Scholars to do that. And then April 27th, that'll actually be another college visit. We are gonna go to Somerset Community College to the culinary department, and that's specifically gonna be with some of our cohort that's in family consumer science classes. So they might already have an interest in culinary, and this will just be a chance for them to get to see one of the nearby culinary departments that they could potentially go to. And it's really affordable, so it's a great option for them. And then finally, we do have one last trip. We haven't set everything in stone, so we've not requested approval or anything for that, so it's tentative. But it's gonna be June 1st through the 3rd. We wanna do an overnight trip maybe, visit several colleges. We're calling it Summer College Blitz. So we're gonna hit as many colleges as we can. We're hoping to maybe hit some career sites, but it has been more difficult with COVID. A lot of them aren't letting people come in. And we're gonna go to Newton's Attic, which is like a science place, and they can kind of learn some like hands-on activities that are science related there. So that's our plan for spring, and we're really excited, and it's gonna be busy, but in a great kind of way.
Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about Berea Scholars. So Berea Scholars is a leadership group within Garrett. So all freshman and sophomore students this year, which is class of 2024 and 2025, those are our Garrett students. Every student that is a freshman or a sophomore this year is part of the cohort. Within that, we do have a smaller group, a leadership group, and we call it Berea Scholars. So we treat it just like a club at the high school. We have club meetings on club day, and so we like to do a lot of different things with this particular group. So we have about 35 to 40 freshmen and 35 to 40 sophomores in there. So about 75 to 80 students in this smaller group within Garrett. So these are just a few of the things that we have done or we have upcoming with them. We did a 9/11 service project. Our students worked on these really nice thank you posters, and we got donuts and coffee, and we were able to deliver those to all the local fire departments in Broadhead, Livingston, Mount Vernon, the police departments, the ambulance service, the 911 service. So that was a really good project that our students got to work on. We actually also made a video. Some of our teachers helped us make a video that we showed to all students, just talking about their experience from that day and what they remember, and what we've learned since then. So it's a really good project. Rita Rockcastle service project, that was also back in the fall. We purchased some books that our students wrote encouraging messages in about the importance of reading, and they actually, we got a video of some of our Berea Scholar students reading those books, and then we were able to deliver those books to some of our kindergarten and first grade students here in the district. So that was a really fun project. We have, within our Berea Scholars, we have another smaller leadership team. We have about 16 students who applied to be leaders in Berea Scholars. So 75 to 80 students, we felt like that was a lot of students, and we needed, just a handful who really wanted to step up and be leaders and help us make decisions about our club. And so we just recently completed that process, and so we have 16 of them, and we're very excited for them to help us make some decisions. Within Berea Scholars, we also have 4 committees that all of our students are broken into, because we want them to really have a focus on what they put forth in this group. We have a community service committee, a public relations, a field trip committee, and then an activities committee. So we're kind of just getting all of that started, and we're hoping that that's really going to help us have more input from the students, because we really feel like that's important. We don't want to make all the decisions. These things are for them. So as they get older, we really want to give them the opportunity to have input and make those decisions.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Your Berea Scholars, are these students chosen by you, or did they show interest in being in that group, or how do they?
So we've done it a couple of different ways. So back when they were in middle school, when our grant first started, we allowed them to apply to be part of Berea Scholars. They had to fill out a pretty short application and just explain why they wanted to be part of it and what their strengths were. And so we chose students from there. As the years have gone on, we realized some students didn't want to be as involved. They were involved in other things. And we've had other students come to us and want to do it since then, and we're always welcoming. If a student takes the time to come to us and wants to be a part of it, we are absolutely for that. We never turn a student down, ever, for that. We've had a couple of students this year who, for whatever reason, may not have applied back in middle school, but they've seen the things we're doing and they want to get involved, and so we've welcomed them with open arms. So that's kind of, it's a little mixture of kind of a few different ways that they get into that. So the leadership conference, they've already talked about that. That is going to be at EKU this Friday. There's 10 students going, and there is actually a group from San Diego that is coming in to do some leadership training with them. And it's going to be, they're going to be students from our cohort. They're all over our cohort there, so there will be students from Madison, Laurel, Pulaski, Estill, all over the cohort. So that'll be a great trip for them. Then she talked about the Earth Day project. I won't hit on that again. We also have something this summer, an opportunity for those students. It's called a RISE Leadership Conference at EKU. So out of those 10 students that go on the field trip this Friday, 4 of them will have the opportunity to do that this summer. It's the second week of June, I believe, and they will spend an entire week at EKU. They'll live in the dorm. It'll be a really great college experience, but it's a little bit more of an intensive leadership conference this summer. So our kids are going to have some really good opportunities coming up that we're very excited about.
And this is all funded by Gear Up. It's no cost for the student.
Yes. Yeah, anything that students do with Gear Up, they pay absolutely nothing. Any trip they go on with us or any of that, it is of zero cost to them. And these are just a few pictures of some of our Berea scholars on Club Day and our donuts and coffee we delivered. And they did a little appreciation for our cafeteria staff. Some of the girls are holding signs in front of the school there. We did just a little thank you to parents as they came through the drop-off line one morning, just to show our appreciation. Here's some more pictures of some of our recent club days, and from our club day right before Christmas, we did some minute to win it games, and they had a blast, and we loved it. So we have a lot of fun and really try to invest in these students and try to build those relationships with them, and we love them. So it's a really good group of kids. These are some pictures from a STEM event that we did. We have a STEM coordinator. Her name is Tammy Harrell. She was a chemistry teacher in Laurel County for a very long time. She came back in the fall and she went to every freshman science class and did a really fun activity with them. It was kind of Halloween based, and she's fabulous. So she really got the kids involved, and the kids really enjoyed it. And so she's coming in a couple of weeks, and she's going to visit all of our sophomore science classes and do a STEM event with them in their classes. So she's a really good resource for us. And then here's just a few pictures of some students and classes that we go into, that we collaborate in. They've done some projects recently. They all had to make a glove in their science class and put their hand in a bucket of ice and read the temperature. And Miss Casey helped with that a lot. She's a professional glove maker now.
I'm gonna do black market for gloves next year.
And then some of these other pictures are some ag classes that Miss Jerica goes into.
Yeah, in the top right corner, I know he dressed like a cowboy. It was like Western Wear Day with Cafe Week, so that's like
And that is Marco Finch. He's my cousin, so he went all out for it, and I love it.
On that specific day, we were doing some competitions within FFA. They got to whoever saw the wood and hammered nails successfully as quick as they could won that competition. And then in the bottom right-hand corner in Mr. Mink's ag class, we were working on building little toolboxes. They all got to make these individually, so it was really cool to see them just work really hard on something, and they were just smiling so big when the project was done. I was so proud of them.
And then some of the pictures in the middle are just of some math classes that Miss Casey and I go into. They were working on an activity in the hallway. So Miss Casey and I mainly focus on, we go into math, English, and science classes and collaborate in those classes and just help kids and teachers however we can.
And I didn't share any pictures because I apparently took no pictures in class, but I do, I'm with Miss Tammy Campbell in Family Consumer Sciences, so I do 3 classes with her per day. Lots of great things going on there as well.
There's just a few more pictures of them working on their projects.
And I will say too, and I'm sure y'all know this, but it's amazing what you get out of kids when you give them the opportunity to do things like that. And even when our STEM coordinator came in, there's a student that I could tell you about that never participates in anything. She doesn't speak very often. She wears her headphones a lot. She doesn't like anyone to bother her. And boy, she was volunteering, ready to go work in that science class and help the STEM coordinator do some of this cool things she was doing. So when you give kids different opportunities, which I think our district's good about, it's amazing what you'll get out of these kids. So obviously, in working together, all four of us in the class, it'll be funny how we'll be like, could you believe so and so? I mean, he was awesome at building that box or whatever. Like, a lot of kids have a lot of different strengths that, that just need a little tapping into. And I think that we're here to do that, and our teachers at the high school are here, and I think our elementary and middle school we've all helped doing that. So I think that's something to say about.
Okay. So I'm going to be talking about family engagement, and we have several things that we could discuss when we talk about family engagement, of course. What exactly is the definition of family engagement in correlation with Gear Up? To me, family engagement is the process used to build genuine relationships with families. Relationships with families support overall family well-being and children's healthy development. When families are engaged, partnerships are created, and we have a common focus, helping children grow and thrive. It is our true belief that when families are engaged, partnerships are created, and they have a common focus of helping children grow and thrive. Okay, I will focus on a few of these events that we have completed throughout this year or since I've been with Gear Up. Family engagement was a key factor for us as a Gear Up opportunity. Gear Up staff, in conjunction with Rocket Madness, that was one of the first events that we had. I think you'll see a few pictures. Well, actually, I won the competition. If you see me at the very bottom with my number 1, I did a STEM activity, and mine stood taller and longer than everyone else's. So anyway, those were some of the pictures that we had from the event at Rocket Madness. We partnered with them. We actually went to where our families were. We provided them with hands-on STEM projects. We gave out appreciation bags. We provided information for families and covered financial literacy, as well as providing families with parent booklets that included valuable information about Keys money. Rockcastle Gear Up is proud to announce that we served approximately 40 families in that event. Number 2, part of the Gear Up's goal for our cohort is providing students and families with the opportunity to become college and career ready, assisting families in making the decision about their future and taking part in developing a plan for post-secondary success. So on January 25th, Gear Up Opportunity partnered with EKU for a virtual college night for our students and families. Representatives for EKU conducted a virtual college visit for our families to cover topics such as EKU College of Health and Science majors, careers for graduation. They provided our students with a faculty, staff, student interaction, student involvement, and we ended the session with a question and answer session. So we actually had true students of EKU that participated in that, and not only did we meet with some of the staff of EKU, but we actually had the opportunity for our students to be able to ask questions to some of the students there as well. This was a wonderful event with tons of information provided for our students, and we had approximately 22 families that were represented from Rockcastle County for that event as well. And finally, for our family engagement component, we are currently working on our spring event. We are calling it STEAM Spring 2022, coming to a ballpark near you. We are actually partnering this time with the baseball team. And while they're having a game, we will be there. We are planning our STEM fair and asking that all clubs and groups in the school to participate with us by setting up tables or booths that will make students in our cohort familiar with STEM careers. We're hoping to involve our upperclassmen as well. And this involvement will not only I apologize, I'm sorry. We'll have demonstrations provide information about STEAM-related careers and degrees that will be related to the department or club. Not only will this be beneficial for our students to receive the information, but also help our students to grow in public speaking and general leadership skills. So by bringing in upperclassmen, that will be able to provide more information for our kids. So moving on, other Gear Up activities. So part of being a college and career navigator, like Jerica and I are, we carry a caseload of students that we work with on a regular basis as mentors through a program called Check and Connect. The component allows us to serve as advocates for students, which challenges them to make their education a priority. We look for stumbling blocks to students to achieve their goals, such as poor attendance, behavioral issues, and grades. So we check on different performance variables and connect by providing personalized interventions. The students set goals to achieve, and we work with them to meet these goals. We keep the families involved and continue to build that school-family relationship. This year, we also started a new mentoring program due to the large number of students failing 3 or more classes. It starts all the way from Mr. Bustle all the way down to your Gear Up staff, your counselors, youth services. We're working together. We have a group of kiddos that are assigned to us of approximately 10 or less that changes periodically throughout the semester as students are dropping off that. But basically, it's to meet with each student once a week just to check in and make sure that what do they need? What can we do to get them back on track? So it's our mentoring 2.0. So just another way of kind of doing things and making sure that we not only hold them accountable, but we help meet those needs for whatever it may be. We encourage tutoring, staying after school, like Miss Casey and Miss Kayla said. Our doors are always open. All right, financial literacy, and I apologize. I know I'm throwing a lot of stuff out there. Financial literacy is another big component that Miss Jerica and I are working with our cohort. We are actually meeting with each freshman and sophomore student. We are going into the classroom. We have some gracious teachers that are allowing us to use a little bit of time to talk about financial literacy with our students. We have successfully met with all of our freshman kiddos, and we are one portion down for our sophomores, and Thursday we'll be finishing up session 2 with the sophomores.
When you're talking about financial literacy, I'm assuming are checkbooks?
Yes.
Counting how to count money?
Yeah.
I mean,
I know
that
writing a check
sounds-
was one of the very first things that we talked about, actually.
budgets.
Yeah, we did budgeting.
We just did
That's
budgeting.
kind of what we're finishing up on Thursday is budgeting, and that's been really fun with them. We had a little bean game, and so they had so many beans, and we would talk about housing and a vehicle and just like regular things that you pay about, but you pay and you don't think about. And they got down to like 2 or 3 beans, everybody kind of started panicking and like shuffling their beans around.
Right.
Like, do I really want to go to
Cut his bean in half.
It's like
Then they
real
don't have
life.
no beans.
Yeah, then they're out of beans.
And listen, it got down to the very end, and there were several that were out of beans and had no money put back for their savings. And we started out a few, like we had a handful, and they had like little slips of paper in there, and they may have lost their job, or was their tire blew, flat tire, and they had no savings, so they lost 3 beans for the month. So they're starting with 17 beans instead of 20. We actually watched a Dave Ramsey video as well that was in connection with that. But the very first session that we had, we actually we did an EverFi module. By completing the EverFi module as well, that it qualified those students to apply for a scholarship. So we're very hopeful that we've had a few that at least applied for that scholarship opportunity.
My adult children are constantly saying to me, Mom, you're on the board. You need to talk to the school staff. Kids in our high school need to know more about the real world as far as interest
Absolutely.
rates, how to file taxes, why you're paying this. It's something that we're not teaching, and that's the real world, you know.
Well, we
And
hit on
so I'm
that.
glad that you all were touching on
Right.
a little bit.
Well, we
That's
hit on
awesome.
that, and we actually gave them blank checks that they got to write themselves, and it's amazing how few know how to write a check. But it was really fun. We had a really good time with that. We've had a really good time with this budgeting component. The next session that we're planning on looking at is financing college, Keys money, how that works. We're trying to get Joplin to come in, and he's our Kia representative.
Do we have a date scheduled for him yet, or we're still
He's
kind of
pretty
waiting?
booked, so we're looking into May if he comes. So it just kind of depends on our schedule for May with the school.
But it was very hands-on. It gave an opportunity for each student to be able to, ask questions and have a better understanding once the module was finished. Lastly, we're doing after-school tutoring. Mostly that's Miss Casey and Miss Kayla, but they are staying every Thursday and working with our students on anything really that they need assistance with, but mostly it's our core content classes. And I think that's it for me. If you guys have any questions at all, and I apologize, I know that I've thrown tons and tons at you, but we're very thankful to be able to be in the school and to provide for our kids. Thank you.
I've always thought with the Gear Up program, I've said this, Miss Becky's heard me say this, I feel sorry for the other classes that does not have the Gear Up services, because I feel like that this is such a blessing for these freshmen and sophomores, and they don't even realize it, but one of these days, they're gonna look back on it, and they're gonna remember, Jerica, and that you had some beans. Yeah, I mean, they're gonna remember how much help, and I'm sure, Casey, how long have you been doing this with Gear Up now?
This is probably 10 years, is it for me? 10, 11 years for me.
What about you, Miss Kayla, how long?
This is my 12th year with the district and my 3rd year with the grant, or fourth, 4
We
years.
always have a hard time
Yeah.
keeping up. Must be like, we must be having lots of fun if we don't know how many years we got in.
Well, just when you're having fun, time fun.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, we appreciate, listen, I just think Gear Up might be the biggest asset that, as a district, we got. And Miss Becky, it sure is, it's really good to see your face here.
It's good to be here.
And-
And I just want to say, I can't brag on these gals enough. You all know, I mean, they're not only at the Rock, they are the rock stars, and all across Europe, they are known. And when districts or teams need help, these guys step up and they are the first ones to come to aid. Even our regional team, we've gone through a lot of changes, and when we need a group to pilot a program or to pilot a new process, they're our go-to folks, and they're always willing and able, but then they always make it better. Anything they touch, they make it better. So I'm so thankful for our students that they have these guys. And then the other thing I wanted to say is thank you to you all for supporting Gear Up, because we at Gear Up and Rockcastle County Schools have a long relationship going all the way back to the beginning when Miss Dreama started with Gear Up and Miss Jenny was here. And it's a wonderful partnership, and it is wonderful to be a part of a project that sole purpose is for all Appalachian students to succeed. And that's everybody's goal, that's everybody's drive, that's what drives us, that's our passion. And then to be involved with a group of people that have such a mutual respect for one another, as does Gear Up for Rockcastle County Schools, and I know Rockcastle County Schools does Gear Up. So it's an exciting place to be. We do have lots of fun, and every chance we get, and I just want to say thank you all for your support, and if there's anything that I can ever do or that Gear Up can do for you as a district, you know where to find me, just call me.
At any time that Gear Up would like to give us a grant for the other 2 classes, I think we would be so happy.
All the time. All the time, don't I? I'm like, we're gonna add another grade, we'll take it, put it in there. I will say that a lot of students, even if they're not a part of Gear Up, they do benefit from our program because so much funding is put into certain things. And listen, we would never turn away a student for help if we can help them. Maybe they're in a class that they're not maybe in our cohort, but they end up in a class that we're in. I know there's a geometry class that I have some juniors in that I help in there sometimes, so we would never turn a student away for help. I want to do too, on behalf of all of us, we want to say thanks to Mr. Bussell for always supporting our ideas. Thanks to Mr. Hopkins for providing us our bus, and thanks for Miss Jenny for always keeping me straight, because sometimes it can be a little stressful and we're pulled in a lot of different directions, and honest, Jenny has so much knowledge when it comes to this grant and what needs to be done, and so helpful, and I just appreciate her so much. Miss Becky's been a huge help, and y'all don't know what it's been like having people to help you and not be by yourself like I was in the last grant. I always say for all of my weaknesses, they're my strengths, and I mean that. Like for what I'm not good at, it's crazy, it really is, and I guess God knew we needed each other at this time because it's been a rough time with COVID and all that, and they are, I can't say enough nice things about my people. They're awesome. And thank y'all. Thank all of you.
Thank you all.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure every year to hear from Gear Up. And I said something to Miss Carrie. I've been around for a while. I want to say, Miss Jenny, that you might have got this grant started years ago. Is that? I believe.
We were collaborating with Brea College, and it was a start of a really good opportunity for our students.
Yes, yes. It's wonderful. And like I said, anytime they want to add, two more.
I put the plug in all the time. I really do. At least monthly.
Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much.
I kind of want to go back and be a freshman and just do some of their fun stuff.
Yours is in it. I'm just
The next thing on our agenda tonight is we get to recognize Mr. Bussel's school, Rockcastle County High School.
Thank you, Ms. Angie. I do want to say before Garrett leaves, what a wonderful program and how much help they are to us. And they touch so many kids at our high school. And it's just, unfortunately, I know our two seniors over here were like, yeah, like us, we're not involved. I am fortunate enough to have a daughter who is a sophomore who gets to participate in a lot of the Garrett activities, and it's a wonderful program, and we do appreciate that. I'm going to go ahead and introduce, got a couple of our student council members here, Haley Thacker and Darby Smith, and they're going to go over some things, proposals they put at last week's student council meeting. Our student council was Student Council of the Year in the state of Kentucky last year. And, they are, Miss Debbie Coleman is their sponsor, and that's going to transition into next year. I think Rachel Cornelius is going to take over that role. They meet early Tuesday mornings before school. They're so active. They're just so organized, and they're really, the things that they do and the programs that they put in place really help our kids. I'll turn over just the most recent thing they've talked about. I'll let them.
Thank you all for having us today. Darby's going to be passing around a paper to kind of lead our presentation, so that way y'all can follow along with what we're kind of talking about. And there's our proposal in there that I'll get to a little later, but I won't keep you all long, but I just want to thank you for letting me be here. I am the president of our student council this year, and Darby's our fellow senior member, and so Mr. Bussell asked us to come talk about what we've been working on. So kind of where all this stemmed from was last year we done a project, and it was entitled Grow Kindness. And I think we shared a lot of it on the school website. Each student kind of wrote a compliment about each other, and we hung them up in the front lobby of the school. And it just kind of boosted morale among everyone, especially during that hard time last year that everyone knows. And so we decided this year that we kind of wanted to do something similar to that, but not the same thing. And we do a spring project every year. So a few of our fellow members went to another school, and they saw QR codes on the wall. And it was implementing like student access to services at their school, and we thought, well, we could do that here. I mean, we got plenty of room for it, and it'll be great. But not only did we want to do it like mental health services and things like that, which are so important, but we wanted to implement, for our seniors, like scholarships and, financial aid, FAFSA, things that you might not know about, or like Gear Up. We partnered with Gear Up as well to kind of bring those freshmen and sophomores like college ready. And we also partnered with Mr. Jesse Mahaffey and Miss Barb Mullins of our Youth Service Center for the students that might need those services as well. So we all kind of brainstormed, and we all met together, I think, like 3 times in the morning, and we kind of worked on a proposal, and you can see our proposal on the packet here. And we presented that to Mr. Bussell on February 22nd to make QR codes to implement around the school for student access to services at our school. And he approved that, and so we've got it we're getting it started right now, and the purpose of it was not only bring awareness to the things that we're trying to bring awareness to, but to access, because I feel like a lot of kids, like, we have plenty of access at our school, and I'm super thankful for it, but a lot of kids, they might not know about it, or they might be uncomfortable to share what they were feeling, or kind of what they're going through, they might need help on this, and so we kind of just wanted to bring awareness through access, and so that's what we've done, and so, you know, we're just gonna track it for the next year and see kind of where it goes, so I'm gonna turn it over to Darby, and she's kind of gonna show you the process and how it works.
So if you guys wanna look at the flyer, like the colored flyer with the QR codes, that's kind of how we're gonna use this project. As you can see, there's 4 QR codes, so we have one for the Youth Service Center, and then this one is going to seniors, like academic help and all that, those things, scholarships, stuff like that. And then that's gonna be mental health, and then our other one's Gear Up, which is gonna take you to, Miss Casey and all of them. But for today, I wanna focus on the mental health QR code, because we worked with Miss Angie Payne a lot to talk about with the Wellness Wednesdays that we've been doing and things around the district. So I'm gonna use my phone to kind of show you guys how these work, and they do work on your guys' paper, so if you wanted to use your phone to see what each code goes to, you can do that. So basically, you just take a picture of it, well, maybe. Those do not work. Can I run your paper, please? So when you scan that for the mental health one, it's gonna take you to the website behind you. I'm going to try to figure this out. So if kids are struggling with mental health, but they don't feel comfortable talking about it, they wanna scan the QR codes, they go here and, let's see. So
Mental health form was up top. Right there, that bar.
Is that it? Sorry, I'm
No, you're
blind,
fine.
I can't really see the words. Great, yes, so there is the form that it goes to, which all of these go to like a Google form, and those are directly correlated with like the leader of it. So the one with the rock logo goes straight to Miss Lewis and Miss Casey, and the Youth Service Center goes straight to Mr. Mahaffey and Miss Barb, and then mental health goes straight to Angie Payne, and then Gear Up goes straight to you, right, Miss Casey. So if they do the mental health one, you they've created this website, and you can click what you're going through, like anxiety, depression, grief, whatever that's going through, and you click there. It provides resources and links. There's the National Suicide Hotline Prevention. There's articles. I think there's videos. Yep, helpful videos that they have access to. And also on the form, there's also like an emergency if they want to talk to someone from the school, like on the weekends, they do that. That's kind of what they do. But with the QR codes, we did this so that way it's like kind of right at students' fingertips. Because I know that a lot of kids, you know, they don't feel comfortable maybe going to Mr. Mahaffey or something like, well, I don't have water or something like that. But this kind of gives them like a backstory to like push them to try to get help. And so we're going to put these all throughout campus, all throughout the high school. They're going to be on the student council website, so they can do that straight from their phone if they're not at school. We're going to do the stickers, and Gear Up is going to provide funds for us to put them in our agenda handbooks. And so kids will have direct access to those as long as they have their agenda book. And also, the QR codes work with the Chromebook. So if kids are at school, they need help, like right then, right there, they really want to talk to Miss Angie Payne right now, then they can scan that, and it goes directly to her. And they can set up their appointments and stuff, so you can do that right from school if you don't feel comfortable walking around the hallways and maybe scan it right in front of all your classmates. So we try to provide like a way that they can do it discreetly but still get help. And so that's basically how they work and what they do.
Yeah, going off of what Darby was saying, Miss Casey Harper's done a fantastic job with the website, and she's really focused a lot on like parent awareness. Like a lot of these videos talk about if your child's struggling with depression, some steps you might want to take, and there's TED Talks, and I mean, I watch some of the videos and they're fantastic. And I mean, the website, it's phenomenal. It has every outlet that a lot of kids would struggle with. It has apps for your phone that might help you throughout all of that. And I mean, I really think that this will be implemented a lot throughout our school and with our students. And so I know that we're getting kind of a late start on it this year. I mean, it's March, and our next step is to make a video for Wellness Wednesday that we're doing at the high school now to kind of show like how to use the how to use the QR codes, how to scan them, where it takes you on the mental health website if you have a question about something else. And so that's our next steps. And then what we plan on next year is kind of meet quarterly with the stakeholders to kind of talk about the progress that we've made, kind of the activity, how many people have reached the site, how many people have used it, kind of just to reflect on the idea. But
I also want to say too, like the QR code, we actually have the website, and from the high school, we have 50 active QR codes. So right now we're just using the 4 to launch our mental health website, but what we were talking about is if they want to know the football schedule, well, the high school has access that we can put football schedule and they scan it and they see that. And we can track what, like the device they scan it on, we can track if they scan it from their phone, scan it from their Chromebook, and we see like how many hits that get. Not necessarily the kid, but it will help us like track our data to make sure this is like effective and like make changes as needed.
And we feel like it's more organized to have it all in just one place, like the QR codes, because if you have all these different forms, I feel like they're gonna get lost in translation, and we don't want that to happen. And we're also gonna put on our student council website as a tab, so that way if a student doesn't feel comfortable taking their Chromebook out and to take a picture of the QR code or whipping their agenda books out, they can just go straight to that website and go to the Google Forms right there if they need it. And so, yeah, that's our spring project this year, and we're really excited for it, and I'm really excited to see how it's really boost morale around our school. Do you guys have any questions for us?
I just want to say, I really don't think that you two realize how impressive you really are.
Wow. That's what I'm totally impressed.
I'm just sitting here, I know both your mothers, and I know they're very proud, but, I am nothing to you all, and when I hear you two, it makes me feel so good inside. You are, so keep being the wonderful people that you are.
I appreciate that a lot.
Yeah. And this is impressive. Listen, this is like right at your fingertips. And you had said that the Chromebooks, they could have, and I was going to ask, I'm sure more students have phones than I even realized, but, are there still students, I guess, that don't have phones? I'm just
Well,
curious.
I think that
I don't know. I mean,
I think it's just gonna go with their policy of, no phones pulled out right at school. Like at home, yeah, they could definitely use their phones to make it easier for them. But I just think we were trying to make another alternative way, so that way it still goes within our school guidelines and they can still access it at school, even whenever they're not at home. So.
But with the cameras in the Chromebook, they can really just take these and just put it right up.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure the way that's going to work too is like the paper in the agenda. If you just stick it up to your Chromebook, it works. If you put it on your phone, it works. And like she said, we have the student council website that we're trying to implement at school a lot more, and that they can just click on it and it takes them straight there. And then they fill out a form of whatever they need, whatever they have questions about, concerns, whether it's from youth service center or mental health, and it kind of just directs them from there.
They're hyperlinked as well, the QR codes are. You can just click on them on your own computer.
Yeah, they are. Yep.
And these are on their agenda too, correct? The
Yeah.
QR codes?
They're going to be.
So then they can just hold it up.
Yeah, I think
Within the next, we're gonna push this out within the next, I'd say like within the next 2 or 3 weeks after we make it up.
Is this something that can also trickle down to the middle school?
We would love for it to. I think what our idea is I'm also working with Mr. Ty Bottoms right now in their student council, and we're trying to get them like in Baltimore and like getting them a foundation to like stand on, and then kind of working with KISCA, which is the Kentucky Student Council Association. But what we'd like to do is see how this runs, and then I'll talk to Mr. Ty and other people at the middle school and see what needs they need, because I know like they don't really need help with senior website, for example, but they might have another service that we don't need.
But the mental health, all those.
Oh, of course.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's an issue everywhere.
It's just great.
And so I would love to see it at every school. And so I just think we're doing a trial run right now, and I'm graduating sadly, but I hope that they continue this next year and make it even better. But yeah, I mean, I think this will be a great legacy to leave, and like you said, mental health is everywhere, and it's super important to bring awareness and to show the students that we do have access to it if they need it. Because I mean, Rockcastle's great for that stuff, so I'm really excited.
so I know you're graduating. I know a little bit. Darby, are you a senior?
Yes. Yeah, we're both seniors. Yeah.
Both seniors.
Phenomenal young ladies.
Thank you all very much.
Thank
Great
you.
job.
I think it's certainly easy to see why we have the best student council in the state.
Yeah.
Because you all do
Absolutely.
phenomenal work, and I know you are very connected to the school, and that students come to you and trust that student council group, and they come to you with issues, and you all are very, very proactive and looking and always searching out ways to improve Rockcastle County High School. So
Well, we're thankful for communication
you.
with you and Mr. Bussell and everyone around, because I know when I go to those Kentucky Student Council conferences and I'm talking to fellow members, and they're like, you just go to your principal and you ask him, and I'm like, well, we make proposals and like we do it formally, but we have that communication open with our higher ups, and some kids don't have that, and so I just think it makes it a whole lot easier for us to do our jobs whenever everyone else is so open to it. So we're really appreciative of that as well.
and also super thankful for like Europe and the youth service centers that will also partner with us and they jump in.
Yeah.
Because Europe has been really great for us, especially with like the funding that they're gonna try to get for the stickers. So, and like we said, that we really wish that we would have had something like that. And so I think it's a great opportunity to make big.
You all are gonna, this is gonna be very impactful, and thank you. Just thank you for your work, and thank you for seeing the need and being able to set a goal and go for it, and we're just very, very appreciative of your work.
And remember, when you go off to college, that the people of Rockcastle really love you and would like for you to come back. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Amazing job.
I hate to follow that.
Yeah, I would too.
Oh, you still have something to say? No.
Couple, just a few things, not much. You know, and I have to talk. I do, you know, how confident they are. I mean, they come into an intimidating room, you know, and just amazing. I mean, those, and of course, you know, those are two really good girls going to do great things. And how fun to be 18 again. Get to do that. I just wanted, I did pass out the calendar. We don't have much to do for the rest of the year, as you can see. I put our March, April, and May calendar on there. Of course, all this is subject to change. You know, I think the snow's only going to be on weekends from here on in. You know, if you ever have any questions, I won't pinpoint anything. I am going to talk about a couple of things. But if you ever have any questions about things on there, of course, we'll have to talk, you know, probably at the April meeting to look at graduation dates. I get about 3 or 4 calls a week about graduation, when we're graduating, how many tickets can you have, is it going to be on the football field, you know, this, that, and another. So what if it rains? But, you know, we'll talk about that on down the line. We do have a couple months before we get to that point, but it's right around the corner. Couple things I am excited about. Just tell you some of the things our teachers have been working on throughout the school year. We've been working on curriculum alignment. You know, of course, it's been a crazy year, and I'll talk about that more in a second. We've been aligning curriculum in each of our courses. Okay, and then we do have, like those girls, all of our students have 7 classes a day. Okay, a little different than it was whenever I was in high school. But you know, I've taught in block scheduling where you have 4 classes a day, and now we're year long, which that was just a semester. And then more recently, 4 or 5 years ago, we had a class in the middle of the day. It was just a semester long. Now all 7 of our courses are year long, which is what I think it works best. And you know, and it's different schools do different things, but for us, you know, that works. That gives our students 28 credits, 28 classes. It does add some more electives for our students as they get into their junior and senior year, especially. We just have so many programs that we have to protect. You know, I mean, I could start naming them. CTE programs and now the dual credit portion of our school is just a wonderful thing. I mean, I can speak for that because my daughter graduated last year with over 40 college credits, and she's been a semester at Western, and she's a junior now. So, but just there's so many things that we try to offer at the high school. You know, it's nothing that any one person did, but you know, it's just as a high school principal, you know, I had the pleasure of being a teacher where you just worried about what happened in your class, and you kind of monitored the front of your room between classes, and then I got to go blessed to go to an elementary school where you got to see that aspect of it, where you're treated like a rock star by those students and the teachers, and you see the work that they do and teaching kids how to read, and it's just a joy to watch. And then the high school, where it's a little different when you're a principal at the high school, you know, I look at things. I had a conversation with Miss Erin today. I tend to catch myself looking at things from a science aspect because I was always a science teacher. When I mean, you know, it's hard to go into a classroom and know everything there is to know about the subject that they're teaching. And teachers, you just got to trust what they do and let them do their thing. I tell kids every day, you know, your job as a principal, I feel like for any principal, is to get the student in the classroom and protect instruction, and then let the teachers do their magic. And you know, through this time, it's been rough. I mean, it's been hard, and I'll get off kill here a little bit. I do want to, there is something I do want to say. You know, we're 2 years next week. 2 years. And, I mean, I think about the conversations we had in this room with administration. We were asked to do so many different things that we were not trained to do as a school board. Think of all the decisions y'all had to make about masks and instruction. I mean, there's so many different things that were put in our laps that we didn't ask for. I look at people who I've worked with right here. I mean, that, you know, just the different things that decisions we've had to make. 2 years later, I mean, we're in pretty good shape. Today was a big day for us at the high school because we took the ACT. We had 198 juniors take the ACT today. You know, that took a lot of, you know, Miss Angie Hendrickson, Miss Becky Smith, and others, counselors had, you know, it took a lot of planning to get that going. We had 8 proctors giving it to 176 kids, and we had 22 special needs students. Now, I don't know if you understand how the ACT works. You know, it's 4 hours of time, a little over 4 hours. So when we got to get those students in there, when you start that ACT, you've got to go. It's just like when we took it on Saturdays. And with that many kids, it's a tall order, and we got through that today. But I will say this, it was refreshing for most of our attention today to be on instruction, because in the last 2 years, it really hasn't. I mean, there's been so many obstacles, and but I'm very proud to get to this point. And you know, I do appreciate all of our teachers have been asked to do just so many things that they weren't trained to do. And you know, here we are. We've come out in 2 years. It's been a tough ride. I will say this though. So our juniors took the ACT today, all but just a couple that didn't get to take it. There's a makeup date that they'll take that. Gear Up here is going to pay for it. Today's ACT was on paper, okay, just like we used to take it. Okay, that's it. That's the last time. It's all moved online. So what Gear Up is so graciously agreed to do is we get, and the way they're doing this, and it's going to be, it's a big transition because they're going to give us 3 days to take this ACT because of, I don't know, I mean, I guess just to see how it is. So our sophomores, Gear Up's going to purchase the ACT for our sophomores. That's going to be April 26th, 27th, and 28th. So we have those 3 days to get them on. I think it's because maybe a lot of schools don't have our one-on-ones, okay? And if there's some issues arise, I mean, the ACT, if you've ever proctored the ACT, it is so specific. I mean, once you start at this time, you have to write when that time is, you have to write when 5 minutes is left, and you have to write when it's over, and they got to close the books. If there's a bell that goes off, if there's a discrepancy, and they may throw the whole test out. I mean, there's so many different things and so many rules you have to follow. What I was going to say about students with disabilities, some students, there's like 7 different categories they could fall under. And Angie Hendrickson, she puts them all in the special ed teachers, Miss Carrie Alcorn, who's head of our special ed department. They look at each student and their accommodations and see where they fall within that. One student may have to have a reader for one portion. Like today, they may have only taken the English portion. Tomorrow, they'll take math. Then hopefully on Thursday, they'll be able to take the reading, and then on Friday, the science. So it takes 4 days to take that. They may have double time. They may have, I mean, it's every kid's different. So we have to staff that. I mean, we have to find people. I know Miss Wills came over and helped today, and there were some others. You have to find people available to do those things, but you still have to have 7 classes a day going on for each kid. So it is tough. It is tough. And I do appreciate our staff. It's not easy, you know, and they have to sacrifice a lot to get through this, but we do it. We do it. And like I said, it was refreshing to kind of have that today to get back to instruction, because, you know, it's not anyone's fault. I mean, and we've had to get away from that, but, you know, we did all right. I will say this too, we're continuing, our teachers are continuing to work on the curriculum in each of their classes. I feel like this is something that needed to be done because a lot of the standards have changed in some of the different departments. You know, we just, you know, social studies, I think, were the last to fully change. and a lot of the language changed, a lot of the what it looks like and the delivery of it, and so we just needed to clean it up. So Miss Carey gave us the year to work on that. So once we had those curriculum in place for all of our classes, we'd be able to look at how to align that not just horizontally but vertically. And actually this Thursday is going to be our first meeting. They've allowed Miss Willis and Miss Carey have allowed us to meet with and Mr. Phillips with the middle school. We're going to meet we're going to spend a few hours, like for example, on Thursday, our math department's going to go first. There'll be 3 hours with the teachers from the middle school, talk about, where we're going to go leading into vertical alignment. And what I mean by that is, take math, for example. Math's always the example I use. What they're doing, what standards are getting covered, but during this time, there's gaps, and we all know that. But to have honest conversations about where we are and where we need to go. Just simple things like so many of our math students, they'll take Algebra 1, Algebra 2, Geometry, but then after that, it depends on what pathway you're on. It depends on what we have kids that go into advanced topics, AP Calculus, and even college algebra. We have kids that go straight to college algebra because they got to take this class their senior year. There's so many different variables, and our counselors are wonderful to work kids through this. That's the conversations we need to have with their middle school so they can see where we're at, where we're going to go. And so the first thing we need to do is get our own curriculum aligned, get our own thing set. But those conversations will start this Thursday. We got math in the morning, and then science in the afternoon on Thursday. Next week on the 17th, we have English in the morning and social studies in the afternoon. So we're really excited about getting those conversations started. Also, something we got to talk about is textbook adoption. Something here's something else that's just, it's not like you're adopting a reading program or a math program like in elementary school. It's like that on steroids, because you got, I talked to Miss Willis today, or we've talked about our history department. When you think, what do you think? Well, you got freshman, sophomore, and junior history class. There you go, 3 classes. Well, it's not like that. You got civics and geography. There's one class as a freshman, or they take GOPO, which is a different class, AP, government and politics. Sophomore year, you got World Civ, or you take AP World Civ. Junior year, you got U.S. history, AP U.S. history, or college history. So there's different, so that levels it. It shows you there's so many different classes that we have to plan for. It's a lot of textbooks. I think the last time we had textbook adoption was 2003, 2004 school year. So we're excited. But look, I was a pretty new teacher then, and so it's 20 years ago. We don't have many teachers in our building that have been through a textbook adoption. So this has been a process, but we got on it early. And there's still some hurdles we have to jump, because teachers are used to teaching without a lot of they're used to supplementing with the resources that we have. But we're excited about that, and that we're getting ready to through this month of March come to a conclusion on those. Hopefully get these things ordered and have them in time for school next year. But again, the calendar, I didn't bring that to bog you all down, and but if you have any questions about that, let me know. There's just, if you want to see what high school is all about, look at May. There's tests, there are tests that our kids are taking that we can't change. That's the AP exams you can see on there. We do have some flexibility on our final exams. Something that I talked to Mr. Brandon, we've already had these discussions to get to this point. Talked to Mr. Brandon, we have to have time to take up these Chromebooks. We had time to get our final exams in, get the Chromebooks taken up, in an orderly fashion. Because that's so important. But there's another variable. That just gets thrown at you. But just being organized and having this in place is going to help teachers. Those last few weeks of May are always a stressful time, because you want the kids to do so well on these tests, and they work so hard for it. And but then you get to see where all your hard work went. But like I said, it's I do appreciate you all, and no one ever could have known 5 years ago where we would be right now, and the decisions we've had to make. I don't even I don't remember taking many classes at Eastern Kentucky University on some of the things I've had to deal with over the last couple of years. And, you know, and no one did, and it's just, it is, I mean, today, again, I say it was a pretty big deal for us. And, but I'm, as much as we look forward to getting here, and I'm kind of glad it's over too.
Mr. JD, I have a question.
Okay.
Seniors are near and dear to me.
Okay.
So the trip, talk about something fun. What do y'all need? I'm always, I'm out there pushing for help, so.
The senior trip, here's another thing. So we had to plan a lot of these things while the COVID bans were still, I mean, and when we looked at senior trip, a couple of things have changed since the last time we took a senior. We wanted to take we want our seniors to get to experience different things, I know probably 6 or 7 years ago, they went to New York for a trip. The problem with that now, and when we looked into a lot of these things, is they required vaccination cards to even get on the bus. Also, they do not allow bus drivers to drive through the night anymore. And so that's a big issue, because that puts you having to stay extra night. You're driving during the day, having to spend a night, and that's an added expense. A lot of the places northeast wouldn't allow the COVID stuff, and so our options were very slim this year. And we're going to Cleveland, and they're staying at a water park, I think the first night, or maybe, well, I guess every night, and they're going to be able to go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're going to be able to go to what's the park up there? Cedar Point Amusement Park. It opens, I think, that week. And so they'll get there, and there's some other things they'll get to experience on the trip when they go up there. It's just the options. I think the other options were like Gatlinburg. Gatlinburg's great. But,
Are they excited? I mean, is it?
Oh yeah, I think they're very excited. We have well over half the students are going, the seniors. Of course, there's some that don't go for various reasons. We wouldn't let the financial aspect of it be the burden the student to deter whether they got to go or not. And but they've worked hard. They've sold suckers, and they've done some fundraisers, and but most of them are getting there close to. So we're kind of tying that off, but it's and it's exciting. I mean, it's I saw the rooming list, and it was it's something these kids will remember. And and we've opened it up to some of our teachers that have senior students to make them go and chaperone. I'll have to stay back and hold down fort here, but it'll be a good experience for them. I mean, and again, and people are like, Cleveland. We talked to some people about, there are some things that they'll get to experience that will be.
Cleveland's actually a really neat city. It's right on one of the Great Lakes, and I mean, it's beautiful.
And so it's interesting. I mean, not many of our kids have probably gone to Cleveland and seen that and experienced that.
It's an urban area. It'll be that not a lot have gone to an urban area,
sure.
So that'll be a good experience.
Sure, and the lake is neat. I've been on Lake Erie, and it's and that Cedar Point is the largest amusement park in the world. What's that?
They've got the largest roller coaster.
All right, which wouldn't be for me. But
Not me either, but they do.
knock yourself out, guys. But it's something that they'll remember. I mean, and we talk about so much, making memories and stuff, and this, it'll be good. But again, if y'all have any questions or anything, I've spoken too long. I appreciate you having us.
I've got one question.
Okay,
So I know the test that the juniors took today was free to the juniors, and it's on paper. So what happens next year when it's not on paper?
The state pays for the one today.
Right.
They'll all be online. So that's why it's so important, and I'm glad you said that. For Gear Up to allow our sophomores, they'll get a leg up, because they'll see before it counts as part of our accountability. They'll get to see what it's like online. I don't know what it looks like online.
Be done like on a Chromebook.
Yes.
What it'll be done. Yes. So
And think about when you took the ACT, the English mechanics part. I don't see it being a problem. The math, you'll be able just to click on the choices and work on scratch paper. So reading. it's different to read on a computer, especially, in the science, they cheat the science every time. That ACT, they make you do it last, and those kids are tired and stuff. I worry about but I do one thing about, and I am a science teacher, so the one thing, the graphs and stuff fitting on that screen, they're hard to see, and I do worry about stuff like that. I don't know, maybe ACT's got that figured out. It is supposedly the most valid and reliable test in existence, so. Yeah, so if you take it 6 times, you're supposed to make the same score every time. But I don't know. But it's it'll be great for our sophomores to have the experience to take that. Now, hey, on Saturdays, it's going to be online. I mean, it's the paper they're getting ready. You'll get your scores back quicker.
So you'll just show up with your Chromebook?
Well, at testing, I don't know that. I don't know. I mean, at testing centers, they may require you to have.
I'm sure at a testing center, they will have.
Like we would,
like see,
here's something you don't think about. We don't have computer labs anymore.
Yeah.
And we have one classroom, Mr. Sean's class, and then the Project Lead the Way, that have multiple computers. Mr. Sean's class has 32 computers. We have a lot of our dual credit students going there. I think all the programs that was an issue with dual credit was a lot of the formats that different colleges used wouldn't run through our Chromebooks, but I don't think that's an issue anymore, is it? I think that they're all good with that now. Starting out, like Blackboard. I don't know, some of the different colleges use, and some of the different professors use different ways of communicating with students. And that's why we have those, yeah. So it may be that, I don't know. I don't know, where we are an ACT testing center on Saturdays, and, we'll see. I mean, we'll adapt to that. They may have students bring their own. I don't know. How do you police that? I don't know. So it'll be interesting.
They just have to have a separate logon. TestNav, the ACT's in TestNav. It's on everybody's Chromebook, so they just click and then they have their ACT logon. And TestNav's locked down completely, so they can't go anywhere else.
And so and then yeah. So
it could be remotely proctored probably too, can't you? I mean, they can just pop on.
It's based on their account once they log into ACT.
They'll have to ID you. Of course, when you walk in. I mean, yeah. See, I mean, I'm sure they thought through. I'm sure they're making their money too.
What will they think of next?
I don't know.
Well, whenever we get used to doing it this way, they're gonna change it. So,
Absolutely. That's what makes the world go around.
that's the reason.
I appreciate the curriculum alignment work and the vertical stuff. I think that's really important. And you talked about textbooks. I've been encouraging young teachers to actually use textbooks because the people that write those are pretty daggone smart. And, if you did what was in the textbook, you probably would be covering the content. And I hope we don't lose. I think a lot of colleges now are saying, well, do your own thing. But, when we go back, a lot of that's in the textbook is where we start. So I'm glad. I think that's really good.
I think it gives something to reference also. I just think it's a good idea.
Sure. And they are now. It's become it's down to a science where the textbook companies write Kentucky standards, and they write textbooks for Kentucky. I think we used to get Californians or something.
Mr. Hansel didn't use them anyway, so I don't know.
What a doer. And it's crazy. I'm excited about the textbook thing, but golly, I don't know what to tell Miss Grace with Spanish book to get. I mean, it's just so you just trust the teachers. I mean, you just trust them, and they do have some forms that have to fill out that are little. We found out that lengthy.
How do your teachers feel about getting the textbooks?
I think they're excited. I think also that they've become so resourceful with what they've had, and and teachers once you teach something for 20 years and you have your favorite things to do and stuff, it's kind of hard to change, and that you're used to using and adding technology into that and everything. The computers, you would be surprised. I'd say they're more excited about having the textbooks than they were about all the kids getting the Chromebooks and doing the Google Classroom. There's another one of those things that we had so many teachers that just, part of that 2-year thing where we just dropped what we were doing and had to learn how to put everything on Google Classroom. That won't go away. We still use that. And Google Classroom talks to Infinite Campus now, and it's just, we've come a long way, baby. I mean,
well, you had a lot of not a lot. Every teacher was a first-year teacher.
Sure.
When you think about it. And I mean, teaching on more than one platform.
And it's, you know, a lot of the teachers were able to use a lot of the things that they developed over, through COVID. You know, Miss Grace, I've referenced her all night, but she's a wonderful teacher. Her Spanish classes. I mean, most of us have students that go to, I mean, you can watch the things she does and how she keeps her classes engaged and through some videos and some activities through those Google Classroom. You can go and look at several of our teachers. I mean, I remember conversations I had with the school board, you know, through COVID about, you know, worries about what was in Google Classroom and whether it was rigorous enough. And at those same times, I'm going back to school the next day having talks with teachers. They're going, I don't know how to do it, I don't know. But I mean, we've come a long way, and you know, and it was tough. But we're tougher for it.
Mr. Bessel, I was looking at, Mr. Ripper gave us a document about our attendance. How do you feel at the high school? What's your challenge with attendance right now?
I'll be honest, attendance is going to be a major issue for, I don't think just Rockcastle County, I think for the nation. You know, and we go to ball games and we talk to other principals and we think we got problems. And, you know, and it's, you know, it's across the board. I mean, that's just something that it's going to be a generational thing, in my opinion, but just because now the importance has not been placed on going to school every day. And that's going to be a challenge for us. You know, we've got to get these kids in our door every day. It's gotten so much better in the last few weeks. You know, the QRS list has gone down. That's been something. Okay, so we got rid of that. Now, I mean, I tell you what, I talked to Miss Becky Smith a few weeks ago, and we looked at our failures that we have at the high school right now. And it, you know, we have some failures, but I just said, gosh, you know, we ought to be celebrating, because this time last year we call them offers, 7 Fs, and going door to door begging kids, get on your Chromebook, you know, kids we hadn't seen, you know, and so we've worked hard through credit recovery, through just hard blood, sweat, and tears to get these kids through school.
Do you think it's from a lack of, okay, I'll use my little girl for an example, because she does not have the same interest since COVID as she did before COVID. Like, and I think with her, the virtual maybe was too easy for her, and sometimes it's better to be lazy than it is to be a worker. Does that, you know, so that's something that I'm curious if that's not what the overall attitude is with some students,
Oh,
you know?
no, I think so. I mean, if you
have we made it too easy? I mean, as far as attendance go, that's
think of it. I think across the board. I mean, it's just like, was the bar lowered overall to get kids to jump through hoops? And sure. But, you know, but at the same time, we knew gaps were going to be created. Their gaps existed before COVID. And we had to find out what those gaps were and do what it was best for Rockcastle County High School and schools in our district to do what was best to attack those gaps and to move those kids. And the old adage of you got to meet kids where they are and move them. Where are kids now? If we can't get them in school, we can't see where they are. I mean, we don't have the testing system, the accountability. I mean, already the component, we've had diagnostics to help us with that, to see where kids are so we can move them. But that's been compromised, you know, through COVID. And, you know, I just think that we'll get back to that point and we'll move kids. You know, as far as being the interest of school's different. I haven't been at elementary schools, but, you know, I have a daughter that was in elementary school through COVID. It's just different. It was different through all that, the unknown and just the change and just the dynamic of it. But now, I think it's schools getting more back to normal now, and you know, and just I mean, when I look at a school day, you know, things I do daily now are not the. I mean, they're not the same to what I did 4 years ago at the high school. I mean, they're not. But you just deal with different things than what you deal. But I'll say this, the things I deal with day to day are not the same things that Cless and Sailor dealt with 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay, I promise you that. So, you know, there's just so many variables, and you just take on, and, you know, we're going to get back to the point, and I know we will. And I think we're at a point where we're moving in the right direction where we can start. Maybe this was a good time. We talked about lining our curriculum. It was a good time to do that because it's almost like you hit reset. And so now we got our baseline, and we'll go from here.
I had another question about the attendance. Here, Miss Casey, I think one of them said something about they follow up with students that are missing, a lot or whatever. I'm curious which you may not have an answer, and don't worry about it if you don't. Is the difference, or is their attendance rate better than the other classes that does not have the gear up?
Oh yeah, yeah, okay. I think
because of the extra effort to reach out to them.
I never thought about that, but I think the freshmen and sophomores, yeah, I think that we have better attendance with those. I don't know the percentages or anything. I bet we do though.
We run that grade report.
And yeah, we could see that. But
just maybe because of that extra effort of some. Because I can remember years ago, if your child wasn't at school, you got a phone call.
Oh, we still do.
We still do.
And trust me, if I forget to tell Miss Sherry, they called me and told me, and then I hear about it. And yeah, a lot of people don't like to hear Miss Sherry call. But she does a wonderful job with that. It's and we work with Mr. Reppert a lot. I told Mr. Reppert when he took his job, I didn't know it was going to be this extreme. Miss Carey had his job before, and I said, well, I worked with Miss Carey a lot. So Mr. Reppert, we'll work together a lot, but I didn't realize,
I'll be there Thursday morning.
Truancy diversion program meetings. It's on the calendar. But yeah, attendance is going to be a big issue, and it's not just school. All right, just kids attending club events after school, kids attending practices for sports. It's not there like it used to be. You never miss practice now. Maybe it's a society thing. And
it's back to teaching our children accountability.
Accountability. I mean, we'll hit the reset button and we'll go from here. But like I said, we live and learn, and we're tougher now than we were before.
You've got good things going on. I mean, you've got two of my kids.
Yeah.
And
bless your heart.
Yeah.
I know, right? No, but you've got a lot of good things going on.
Well, we got a great staff, and they've been just so understanding and flexible through all this, and it's been tough.
Do you have any vacancies?
I think we've only had one that said they're going to retire. What a blessing! And so, and she's a good one. And but we'll see what we can do. But yeah, it's luckily I know other schools have a lot of vacancies, and I know I've talked to a lot of principals that are really concerned about the availability of teachers. You said that about these two girls up here, if they wanted to come back. I see kids coming to our building, former students that Mr. Brock took 20 students this past week on Thursday and Friday to Bellarmine University for Ed Rising conference. Ed Rising is a club. It's an organization that focuses on students that potentially will be teachers someday. And so we had 20 kids. We had the largest delegation there. And so I thought that, my daughter's at Western going to be a teacher. I think that's wonderful. I mean, you don't hear that a whole lot, but, there's something said about someone who wants to devote their life for kids. And, it's a good gig.
Well, I want to say, Mr. Bussell, you've bragged on your staff, and gosh, how deserving are they? I mean, just amazing. But I want to brag on you, because you've just been a steady force. During the entire time of COVID, you've not gotten too high, you've not gotten too low, you've just been steady. And that's why your staff has done such remarkable work with our students. So we appreciate you and appreciate the work you've done, and always looking out for Rockcastle County High School. We've bounced around many ideas in this room. Some good,
Yeah.
some bad, some we weren't too sure how it was going to work, but we can always depend on you to say, this isn't going to work at Rockcastle County High School, and we appreciate you always standing up for your staff and supporting them and just doing the leadership work that you and Mike and Becky do day in and day out. You all, we
Thank you.
appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
I have another question.
Go right ahead.
I'm just curious, not that we can do it, but I like to hear it anyway. Do you have a wish list of something that you need? I mean,
Just one.
yeah. I mean, I'm just curious. I know you have a need, I'm sure, and we may not know nothing about it. Something that you feel like, well, we could really use this, or we really need this, or something.
Teachers are resourceful. Our facility that we have is wonderful. Our school does not live what is it? 28.
Oh,
It's
hold
28.
on there.
You're, I was the last one from the old school. Now I can say this: when I went to the high school and it was 30 years old, at the middle school it looked like it was 30 years old. Our building is great. I mean, we had we're always looking at little things. You can't just wait on the big thing. The major the changes and. And we talk to different, we look at different areas. I'll give you an example. Just like we invested in some stage lights for our auditorium. You don't know how expensive those are until you try to buy them. And so we had some help with the student, who helped Miss Rachel and Miss Tammy and Mr. Daughtery, and we've ordered some lights to replace the ones we've had and just things like that. But you budget to do that. We've talked about, I know, I haven't talked to Mr. Clark about it specifically, but maybe I mentioned to Miss Jenny, or if I didn't, I will. Just trying to save up, just like for graduation that was on the football field, the sound system. We had to rent that last year. That's something we don't possess as a district or as a high school. Looking at just little things like that. But if you want to talk about big needs, a new track surface would be tennis courts, and a new track surface would be, because our tennis team nor track team have places to compete, and that's big stuff. Of course there's always stuff. I think our athletic facilities are probably the worst around, and it's not anybody's fault. It just got to the point where but just stuff like that.
How's your STEM? How's your fellow science person?
We've been able to budget to build into that. Now, something is becoming part of Advanced Kentucky through our AP programs. There's some money available there to buy consumables in our labs, to buy new electronic devices. We've been able to do that. Gear Up's helped with some things like calculators. I mean, now they have the school bus looking calculators, which they do that purposely because they recharge, and you set them on a charger in each classroom. They're yellow and black. You can't buy them at the store. They look like school buses, and so they know that they're the school's property. Things like that. But we got the grant with the TVs, the 70 plus screens that are coming. So we've been blessed with stuff like that, and like I said, the one-to-one, that really pushed the teachers to try to be flexible enough to learn how to put all of what they've done for years onto the computers. But it's hard to complain, Miss Angie, when you go to schools and you see what we have compared to what a lot of schools have, and I'm sure if you ask my teachers, there's always something they want.
That's what we're for, though. That's what we're for.
Well, I mean, I knew about the track.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
some
looking for brighter days on that.
some things I see. I mean, all the public sees too. So those are the things that you hear about. You don't hear so much about what in the school buildings, the needs that you may have, like talking about the calculators or something like that. That's not something, I don't know if I've ever had a teacher or a parent contact me and say, hey, my kid needs a calculator. Are you all going to do anything about it? I mean, that's not been, so that's always been something that, I'm curious about. Do you have the resources that you need to help our kids,
Yeah, we do. And, you look at, again, at the high school, there's so many different, things going on. Mr. Sean may have needs in the computer lab, more RAM, more memory, whatever he does with that stuff. And Mr. Brenda and Project Lead the Way got a new, with this Perkins grant money, got a new printer that he wanted, and got 3D printer and things that you got it. And I tell our teachers this all the time, and they all kind of chuckle, but it's true. You gotta make your program sexy to these kids. I mean, you do.
Sure.
You know, computer science has got to be something we've got to build on. I mean, we've got to build that program. Mr. Sean's going to use esports teams to get kids into his programs. You know, you got to kind of trick these kids somewhat too. I mean, if you're going to do esports, you got to take computer science class, okay, which is important. You know, but with esports comes it takes cost. You know, Mr. Sean's like, well, it costs $600 to get this for this game, and so you have to have that. And we call Brandon, and he gets, oh gosh, you can't do that. But seriously with Brandon, I mean, there's a lot. I don't understand all that, the firewalls and stuff you have to get through. I mean, our kids we haven't had esports team the last 2 years because of COVID, but we're bringing it back next year. They would be after school. They play Monroe County at 3:30, and then Ashland at 4:30. I mean, playing this game, and they just get on there and they play. And I don't know, kids. There's a faction of kids that enjoy that. And well, and listen, come up here some fall when you got esports going on. You got FCCLA, you got FFA out there. You got archery team practicing, the JROTC kids, and fall baseball and fall softball and basketball in the gym, and somebody's in the weight room, and football team, and the band's up in the parking lot, and you look, and all of a sudden you're looking around, there's 500 kids there after school doing something. It's not, I don't think it's like that everywhere. I mean, most of our kids have something that they're interested in, even after school. So.
That's a very positive thing.
Yeah. Oh,
That's what
gosh.
you remember.
And you walk around up there, and we have people that come and walk and stuff. You can see, a lot of kids doing a lot of things. Oh, we got the app harvest thing too.
Oh yeah, I was gonna mention that.
We're gonna have so much lettuce we won't know what to do.
Well, with the cost of gasoline and diesel fuel, maybe we can start.
Yeah. Maybe we can sell some
lettuce.
I have to.
Well, thank you, Mr. Bexel.
No problem. Sorry, I ended up talking way too long.
Listen, I appreciate you so much, and you were a great elementary school principal.
Oh, yes.
And I think you do a great job as a high school
Well,
principal.
thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you. All right. It's been nice getting to hear stuff from our schools.
That was refreshing. I
It
love
makes this so much more pleasurable. Item number 4 is operations and actions. Does anyone have any questions concerning that?
I just have some explanation. The Power School group, can you just enlighten me as to what that is? I don't even know what item that is. 4F.
I was gonna ask that as well as the Green River.
Thank you. That was mine too.
Our school's application management, so it's for accepting applications, jobs,
Okay.
managing those employee records. So right now we're paper and pencil. And
I just didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
Just curious.
So it's a software, and it's a 1-year license for that, and a Springboard is a job posting spot where we can post those jobs to advertise them, hopefully attract in a different way, and hopefully attract jobs in a different way, and then be able to have those records in one place, in a better one place rather than.
I think if I remember that was like $7,800. Is that a recurring cost, or is that gonna be less in the following year?
It's actually on that quote. I have
Okay.
the quote. On the quote it says it's not recurring. About, I'm gonna say 2,500 off the top of my head.
Okay.
Is a setup fee kind of for this year, and then part of that will be reoccurring. Yes. If we, as long as we continue to use the software.
Is that something that will be monitored by the human resource person whenever? Okay. I was just wondering, or is that something else that you're gonna have to do?
JD, no, so if there's a job posting that's at the high school, JD could see that, Miss Carey could see that, whoever else needs to see that, everybody could be on the same page, rather than to now, I think somebody makes a folder, and then they pass around the folder, and if I apply for one job, Jamie, you can talk. If I apply for one job, and it's an instructional assistant at Broadhead Elementary, and then I wanna apply it around some, and they have to file my application, make a copy of it, put it in the folder for Roundstone, and then make sure you put the copy back in the other folder, and then it's a nightmare.
And if someone applies currently, there's many avenues. They might take an application to Mr. Bussell for a job, they might bring it to me, they might drop it off to Miss Tracy in the front, it might get to Jamie, might get to Jenny, and then we're just hoping it all ends up in Miss Jamie's folder at the end of the day. Whereas this will be an online, if you want to apply for a job in Rockcastle County Schools, you'll go online, it'll all be housed right there. And it'll just be a more succinct way for us to keep up with the application process.
Streamlined with everybody on the same page.
I can't imagine it.
It seems expensive, but I think it's a small, it is a small
You would
price to
even
pay, 'cause
keep
we got
up with
other
that.
quotes. So it is a small price to pay, because some of the other quotes were a lot higher.
Wow.
Well, it kind of replaces a person for cheaper probably to keep up.
It can't replace a person, but it can definitely.
It'll take
For
some work
some
to
of
get
that.
that, some,
Yeah.
The Green River Educational Cooperative, what we call it GREC, this is our third year in the literacy grant. So that means by the end of this year, 100% of our teachers have to be involved in the grant and receiving at least half of the hours each year from a professional literacy coach. So most principals have left this year to be a lot of the related arts teachers, your specials, or your elective teachers, because a lot of the programs that were offered were about reading and writing, especially for language arts classes or those core content classes. GREC has a really great opportunity this summer that is called Beyond the Core, and it is reading and writing strategies specifically designed for gym class, health class, music class, art class, and how do you read and write as an artist? How do you read and write as a musician? How do you read and write as somebody in the health field? So this is just giving us permission to work with the Green River Cooperative. We're not going to join that cooperative, but just work with them through that. They are a cooperative just like SESC and KEDC. The $22,000 is from the grant, so that's nothing that the board will pay. It's money that we'll get anyway from the grant and use that to pay for that. So that's what this is asking to do.
Does that seem like a normal price? I'm just curious. I mean,
Yes.
I thought it was a lot of money.
We would have been paying that anyway, we just may have paid it to KEDC, or we may have paid it, we would have been paying it to a provider either way. This is just a provider that offers what we need.
So each person is $1,700, and they get $750 worth of materials once they go to the training to bring back and use immediately in their classroom.
Who makes the decision on who goes for the training?
Principals sign up who they wanted to go where, and they were told to go back and ask teachers, here's what they have offered this summer. What are you interested in signing up for?
That answers my question. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else have any questions?
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Item 5A, review and approve the monthly financial reports. Ms. Jenny?
Okay, I may have lost my voice. You have your, month ending for February, and, if you've had an opportunity, to take a look at those. One of the things that I did do this month is, just taking a closer look at our revenues for, the year as compared to what we had budgeted. And we are very much on track, with what we, proposed, as far as our, incoming revenues, and feel like that we will, move right on through the end of June and be right on track for our budgets.
Expenses running on track as well.
Expenses running on track, but we are seeing some increases. One of those being, food expenditures, transportation, cost of, general supplies that we're using, we've seen some increases. But good thing those revenues are holding steady. Do you have any questions that I can answer? There had also been a request, and it's in, the board reports, just to review fund expenditures for Fund 1, 360, and 51. There was a prior spreadsheet that we had in there, and that has been updated. That also gives you some comparison on fund balances. But do you have any questions on month-ending financial report?
Thank you, Ms. Jenny.
Thank you, Ms.
Need a,
Jean, for updating that. Thank you.
need a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
Second, all in favor?
Yep.
Item 5B, review and approve the resolution for selling surplus buses.
So this is, to sell 3, used school buses, which matches up with the 3 new buses that are being purchased, or ordered back in October, done through silent auction through KISTA. No cost to the district to do this, and, part of this request is to also allow me and Ms. Ballinger, when the bids do come in, that we be able to go ahead and either accept or reject those bids without having to come back to the board. Any questions?
I believe this is the same thing we did last year also.
Mr. Ken, I've got a question. When we were at, our meetings weekend before last, I stopped at one of the booths and they talked about propane buses.
Mhm.
Wow.
So it's like anything, there's advantages and disadvantages. One of the biggest disadvantages is filling them up. You know, you can't hardly, it's hard to send them out on long trips, because where are you gonna fill up a propane bus at? They are a little bit different to work on from a mechanical
I wondered, I figured that was probably.
standpoint. There are some similarities though, so it's not that far out there and that crazy. We're probably closer to having a propane bus than we would be an electric bus. That's a whole nother deal. The propane buses are about double the price.
I was
think.
wondering, because, you know, they don't give you that, but.
Electric buses are about 10 times. They're way, way more expensive.
I have to ask, Ms. Carey said something to me today of your fuel price this year compared to last year.
Yeah. Just to compare February's, February last year was a little bit less than $10,000. We were paying about $2.25 a gallon. This year's fuel bill is a little over $35,000. The last delivery was $4.09 per gallon. Now that's not exactly comparing apples to apples, because February last year we were delivering food on Fridays. We may have had multiple snow days. We only missed one day in February this year. So.
But now, when we purchase our diesel fuel, is that bid out? Did we? No. It's not. Okay. No. I thought that there was some type of, you had to go through a certain supplier and all of that.
Yeah. No. We just each individual delivery we get could be a different price. Could be lower. Could be higher. It's just.
So all of this transportation money that you're going to get is all going to go for diesel fuel.
Yeah. Pretty much.
I believe at one time we did used to be a diesel.
I thought we bid that out. It's been a while, but I thought we had to. Is the only reason.
A lot of districts will bid out fuel, tires, batteries, all that type of stuff. We've had some conversations about some of that.
Is that something that we may need to look at visiting? I mean,
Hard to say right now.
Probably would be a high bid
right
across the board right now. But
I know we're doing everything we can, but is there anything we can do to conserve fuel or that we need to do that? I don't know if there's anything. I mean, ultimately at $4 a gallon doesn't make a lot of difference, but still.
I mean, we're pretty limited. I mean, we joked around, we got 3 more NTI days. I've been looking to consolidate routes. I've consolidated since in the last 5 years, I've consolidated 2 routes. We have 2 fewer routes now than we did before. So, that's one thing. And that wasn't necessarily for a fuel reason. That was just because of driver shortage as much as anything. Trips. I don't think anybody doesn't want their kids going on trips or, playing ball games and stuff, but that's a big expense right there.
How many routes do you have?
Right now we have 44 routes, 43 in county plus one that goes to KSD every day. We own 61 total buses.
Steve, have any other questions for Mr. Hawkins about the surplus bus sale? I need a motion to approve.
Move to approve.
We have first and second. All in favor? Item 5C, review and approve the human resources manager position. Ms. Carey?
Yes, if you all will remember back, we came to you last May and we had some discussions about the human resource manager position. At that time, the board approved the position, but we wanted to come back and revisit the salary. I have loaded into your drive the job description along with the education and experience required, and then I've added also an additional third page to that Miss Jenny and Miss Leslie worked on to come up with. These are going to be the actual day-to-day management duties of this position. As if you take a look at that, you can see that this person is going to have quite a bit of responsibility, and we've already talked about the role that they'll play in the hiring process. The last page of that shows the salary schedule. This job would be posted on the classified salary schedule at an hourly rate. The hourly rate will be comparable to account clerk, and it is listed on your last page of that document. Anybody have any questions about the job responsibilities?
So this job
It's a lot.
It's a lot to
Yeah,
do,
it's a
and you
lot.
can see the need, because right now these responsibilities are divided out among our central office staff, and Miss Jamie does some, Miss Jenny Ellis, Miss Jenny, Miss Leslie, Miss Marianne, everybody just kind of has a piece in that, and at times, and that can cause some confusion, so this will just consolidate this into one role and then also give our finance department, some additional assistance.
So I may have overlooked that through here. So they would be a contractual employee, like they would sign a contract.
Just like we're hiring any employee, yes.
So how many days a year?
240.
Am I overlooking that?
It would be 240 days.
I didn't see that on there. I was
So
gonna actually ask
you'll, when we post that position, it will be posted for 240 at that salary rate.
So 7.5 hours a day, 240 days a year.
Actually, it's 8 hours is what,
8 hours a day.
what
Okay.
those positions currently are.
Okay.
This has nothing to do with whether or not I approve or not. I'm just curious. The principal's report coding and leave form, is that for the employees when they leave early? What is that?
Sick days, keeping up with
Gotcha.
sick
Okay.
days, emergency days,
I was just
personal days.
I've seen that
Yes.
there and I just didn't
Yes,
really
so
know
that's
what
a
that.
monthly report that principals do, and then of course we have to come in and code that for each employee that misses during the month.
And I guess I'm gonna ask one more thing, the cafeteria plan.
Yes, that is your vision, dental, cancer policies, disability policies, anything additional that you might take out.
And
for
they
your
call that
family.
a cafeteria plan?
Mhm.
Yeah, it took me a minute to figure that wasn't the
Hmm.
lunchroom schedule.
Yeah, I was like, that's interesting.
Yeah, the money you put back for.
Yes.
Okay, it's just, okay. All right, so, has anybody got any questions for Ms. Carey about this position? If no more questions, I need a motion to approve the human resources manager position. Got a first and a second, all in favor? Okay. Item 5D, review and approve the RFP for construction management services. Mr. Clark.
It's been hard for me to sit here this long.
He's so excited.
I know. He's all dressed up.
You got your boots on?
You should have worn a bow tie.
I joke with him that he only maybe get one shot at this, so, make it a good one, right? Yep, we've got the two, I'm gonna kind of speak at those together because they're very similar. These are the boilerplate, RFPs that KDE has on their website, just tailored to what we're doing right now. So, one's for construction management, the other one's for architectural engineering. As you guys know, we don't really have a really good relationship with an architect. We do have a pretty solid relationship with the engineering firm. We've been a little bit spoiled, I think, with having a construction manager on this project. And I think that when you look at new construction of a school, we really need that expertise that a construction manager brings, the oversight that they have over the employees that work, subcontractors, the bidding piece of it is a little bit more transparent, like our energy project was. So I think there's a lot of advantage to that. But really we're trying to do a get ahead right here. We don't know that we're gonna get funding, but we wanna be in a position to use that funding as expeditiously as possible if we do, so. I think it's really important. There are other districts that are doing the same thing that we're bringing to the board today. I know Adair County's already approved for a construction manager and an architect and engineer RFPs. They've got it out there, so. That's kind of what we're thinking, that we'll get ahead of the game maybe once, so.
So
I know you guys got
with
questions.
board approval, this gets sent to KDE, right? Who do you have to?
No.
Not until you.
This will give us the ability to advertise and start the interview process to select a construction manager and an architectural and engineering firm to work on the middle school project.
And then we would
But I
come
mean,
back
you
with
don't
the
have to
offer.
submit any of
We
this.
get approved
Yes.
for the
Okay,
grant.
then it gets done.
Yes.
Okay, I do have another question. Funding, when would be the deadline on it, if you would find out if we're gonna receive any money?
The legislative session ends April the 15th, so we will know by then.
Hopefully.
So in theory, we would be able to select the construction manager and architect about the time we know we've got the money.
In theory,
And
you're right. That schedule's pretty aggressive that I put in there. It aligns pretty well with what other districts have done in the past, but there's gonna be a few curveballs that we're gonna have to, but I mean, if code's taught us nothing else, it's how to adapt and move ahead, so I don't think this will be a mountain we can't climb, so I think it's a good process to start right now.
So this is something that, other districts are already doing, you said. So we're all hoping for the same batch of money. Somebody's gonna be crying, ain't they?
Probably so.
And if we don't get money, we don't owe these
We're not
people
obligated
anything, we're just.
anyway. But if we wait, then we may not get what we want.
Exactly.
Do
And
we have
people are
interest?
starting to get,
Yeah, we may
the
not.
firms are starting to pick up jobs, and, we want to get out there and so we can get the
That
best of the
makes good
best.
sense. Yeah. Makes good
Do
sense.
you have feelers out? Do you have interest, or do we advertise it somehow?
We will. There is an
Okay.
advertising process that, you have to advertise for X number of days, and then, just like, very similar to what we did when we hired CMTA.
Yes.
We'll go through that same process.
I move to approve both,
Yeah.
if we can do both together.
I think we have to do
Okay.
each separate, yeah.
So construction manager.
I move to
So
approve the
this-
construction managers.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, 5-8, approve the RFP for the architectural engineering services.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Thank you all.
Hopefully all your
That's
work
so
won't be in
exciting.
vain.
I know.
And speaking to, Mr. Russell talked about the sports fields. We tried to do the best we can with what we've got. They've improved over the years. I know the buildings that we have are old. We tried to refurbish them the best we could, but there's a need there, and maybe there's light at the end of the tunnel for that, maybe too. We can maybe do something. Maybe. We got it on our radar, right in the very middle.
I said, fingers crossed, better days coming.
Yep.
Need like
You know, I
poppers.
have to ask,
Like-
the conversation you're hearing about the funding, do you care to share? Have you,
Eric can probably speak to that better than me.
Yes, so we're working very strongly with the Senate right now, with the Senate side. We've put in an official request, 2 options. One being, we need full equalization of our nickel tax and an additional $4 million line item. So we're working that, and Jared Carpenter is helping us very strongly, as is Brandon Storm, who is our new senator. I've been going to Frankfurt on Thursday mornings and meeting with them, and we're, really pushing that. Our other, offer is to equalize the nickel for 25 years versus 20 years, and if that happens, then we would have that additional $5 million that the gap funding. So we've put in both of those requests officially to the A&R committee, and right now the Senate has not put out a budget, so we're just waiting for that Senate budget to come out to see. So So we're hopeful, we've been getting good feedback. But again, it's just a waiting game right now, but we just wanna be in the position that if we do get that, then we're ready to move
Ready to
forward.
go. Well, if you hear anything.
Yes, we will let you, and I do wanna say that Josh Bray has been phenomenal. He has helped us every step of the way. He's fighting absolutely as hard as he can for us, as is Brandon Storm and Jared Carpenter. And, you know, they know the need, and they've said to me over and over, it's not like Rockcastle County has ever really come to us and ask. And you have a 50-year-old building that has high needs, and so they recognize. They also recognize that we've done our part locally by passing that nickel tax, and that's a big feat. So all three of them have been really great to work with, and I appreciate their efforts on our behalf.
Thank you for sharing
Thank you,
that.
Ms. Ballinger, for being proactive on this, and I know Mr. Reppert's been to Frankfurt, and thank you all for doing a good job with that, advocating.
Item 6A, review the superintendent's personnel action report.
Do you all have any questions about that?
I have a strong objection to one of the resignations.
I second that.
As we all do.
With that being said, I just wanted to speak and say that, Jamie, you have been a true pleasure.
Thank you.
And I already told you, I'm a little bitter about you leaving, okay? Since day one, I just think that you have just done a phenomenal job. And wherever you go, you'll be successful. But we'd always like to see you come back, you know, and visit us.
Thank you.
As a mother, I get it.
You all have always been very supportive of me, so I appreciate all that you've done over the years, 22 years. So it's a little bittersweet, and I'm nervous and anxious, but excited at the same time to try something new.
Well, I wish you the very best. You'll be great wherever you're at.
And we hope she doesn't get too far from us.
Yeah.
You always know where home is.
I'll still be right around some.
Item 7, department reports. You have those. If anyone had any questions. Mr. Rippert, if you don't care to touch base about, you would like the test to stay.
Yeah, it's been a tremendously successful program. If you look, we've had 794 total tests. We've had a number of students and staff that have been able to come to school despite being quarantined with that negative test. It's been a great resource for our staff, for our families, for our students. With the last couple of weeks, I'm really glad to say it's not been utilized very much. Last week we had 16 tests. 11 of those were students going to CUNA that needed a negative test to go. They were not quarantined, but they needed a negative slip of paper so they could go. So we only had 5 tests total last week. None of those were positive. We didn't have any Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of last week. We didn't have any yesterday. We actually had one staff member come by today. Yesterday we had 8 students quarantined, so that's wonderful too. But that number has obviously dropped off dramatically. I looked at our incident rate. It's 16 now. We're in the orange. Everybody around us is in the orange except for Lincoln County. They're in the yellow today. So the need has I won't say vanished, but it has decreased dramatically.
Is there anything in a contract that would, okay.
No, because the contract that was approved was with Ethos Labs, and it was really at our convenience. Their funding comes from the state. The only cost that we have incurred is we have a staff member that comes here each day with them and helps with registration and just helps to expedite that process. So that's the cost that we have incurred. We're gonna have it obviously the rest of this week from 7 to 9. And we'll see how that goes. But I've had discussions with Ethos Labs and that staff member that after Friday, I don't know that we'll need to continue that.
As far as the staff member goes, is this individual will they go back to school, or will their job cease to exist? Or?
She's a sub nurse. She's on her sub nurse list.
Okay.
And so she's worked a couple hours each day
So she's a sub position. We've talked to her, she actually came over and wanted to be on the instructional assistant list, sub-instructional assistant list last week, which was very easy to just transfer her over to that. And we do need sub nurses from time to time as well. So, but, you know, it has been a wonderful opportunity, and I appreciate the board supporting that. And we were really one of the first in the state, I think, to do this. We had several call-outs after we started implementation. But I am thankful to say that the need is just not there.
So if we stop the program and the need comes back the first of next year, first of the school year, can we implement it again?
We would, I'm sure at that point, there would have to be we'd have to I think the contract expires in June. And, of course, this was all in coordination with the state, with KDE, Kentucky Department of Public Health. They funded it. So, that, I don't know how it'd be set up next year. It may be completely different. But, I would hope that would still be an opportunity if that need was there at next school year. I really don't foresee us needing it the rest of this school year. If we suspended it, and we needed it, say sometime in April, from our end, I don't think it would be very difficult to have someone here manage that. And we talked about maybe doing it a day a week or something, 2 days a week, but reality is you're supposed to test for 5 days if you're quarantined. And over the last month, most of our quarantines have been household exposures, so they can't do test to stay anyway. So they've got to be at home and can come back after that.
There's a lot of different ways you can do it now.
Yeah.
Home test and
So
anywhere.
that need, and a lot of people do have.
Yes, it's
Got
involved.
those from the government. Some folks have got those from the federal government, those home tests.
Yep.
So.
And I think you can reapply for those.
You can. You can get another.
Get another round of them. Yeah.
It's really remarkable that we have 8 students quarantined as today. I mean, that's when I keep focusing on that number, because when we started school, and I think I can remember we had 627 students quarantined at one point, and to go from that till 8 is really a blessing and a refreshing. And I think it just goes back to what Mr. Bussell said. I pray and hope that we're at a point now that our focus can shift from this and focus on instruction and just taking care of our kids.
Well, think back to our last board meeting, it was a month ago. Think how things have changed since in that month. So it's been pretty dramatic across the board.
I have another question for you. I was looking at your attendance update, and that's always something that concerns me, because our funding is based so much on our attendance, and I guess that is.
Let me say something about that.
Okay.
So there is a bill right now that is going to change our formula from ADA to ADM, and we're for that.
Yes, we are.
A lot of K groups for that, because that absolutely will affect our funding next year. Just like Mr. Bussell said, the discussion you had, attendance has decreased. If you look there, month district-wide 92.34, that's low. Our funding has been based upon ADA from 18-19 over the last couple of years, the last, 3 years? Is that 3 years now, Jeannie, now we're on that? That's crazy. It's hard to believe that, but that worries me. And another part of that's not even included in this percentage is the QRS codes. The QRS is quarantine receiving services. That's an exemption code. So all these students that are quarantined, they've been counted present. So if you take those out, that number sinks pretty dramatically. At least a couple % over the course of the year, and probably more than that if I ran all of them. So that worries me, because that number's a little bit inflated because of those QRS, which we may not have next year. So if you think about that, and you think about ADA, so there's a bill to change that calculation to average daily membership, total enrollment.
Okay, explain what that difference is going to mean.
So average daily attendance is that student that's at school each day. Average daily membership is, that you think about, if we've got 2,800 students in the district, if we have that day 2,600, it would take that number as opposed to that average daily for that student. It would be for the overall enrollment for the district, which would help us, which would help about every district in the state. I can't imagine too many that it would hurt.
But even district-wide, 92%, I mean.
But this would be it would be the membership overall, like the number of students that are there that day, as opposed to each day for the whole school year.
Yeah.
So that would help us.
It would increase our funding.
Yes.
Is that Senate bill? Is that in Senate? It's a different bill.
So
It
that,
hasn't
that's,
gotten much traction recently, so if you,
I know KSBA that was one of their priorities.
yes, it
To
is.
get that changed. I think most of the K
All
groups
the
are in
K
support of
groups
that.
are in support of that.
So hopefully that's something that near the end.
Give me, do you have a district attendance average prior COVID? What our percentage was running?
I'd have to look.
I mean, we were what, 96, 90, I mean, wasn't we about 96%?
Average daily attendance?
For the whole district,
We
yeah.
looked it up.
It wasn't 96, more like 94, 93, somewhere around there. Yeah.
You used to be able just to throw that number out there.
And that is a little bit low for month 7. And month 6 or month 5 was higher because that was basically that from that second board meeting in December to the second board meeting in January, which there were a lot of days in that, so that number was a little bit higher. Month 6 was a bad month because that was COVID. And month 7, we're just kind of coming out of that. So if you look, previous months were better, generally speaking. That number, if you average it, would probably be around 93, but that's going to be at least probably a percentage and a half lower than historic.
So if that passes, will that be able to be used for the whole school year or just from that point?
It would not go into effect until
Next school year.
Next school year.
But then you would get the real numbers instead of what we're going by 2018 for our funding.
And that part of the issue is it's very complicated. So I think they're having some trouble figuring out how they're going to do some of this. And that may be, that's my speculation, but it's a little bit complicated.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, attendance is certainly, it is a concern moving forward. We've told students and staff, faculty, if you're symptomatic, stay home. If you're sick, stay home, which obviously that was the advice. So you got to come to school now. You got a little sniffle, you still need to come to school. So that's a different shift. That's a different mentality. And societally, how many people are working from home now? A lot of people work from home. So that mentality is, we don't necessarily have to go to work.
Oh, well, I think that's what I was getting at, I think being at home during COVID, it's caused children to develop a lazy streak of, I can do my virtual homework in 2 hours.
Yeah.
Or I can go sit it, and every situation is different, and I understand that, but, I guess one of the things I was getting at is what type of incentives, I know years ago, at the elementary level, we'll use it, there you had pizza parties, they had, all kind, they did a lot of different things to reward the children for having good attendance, and are we doing anything like that again?
There certainly are
It's
things
hard,
that, things that,
to do that though,
things
because
that
we
are.
still don't want kids to come to school if they're ill. So it's a catch-22. You want to promote attendance, but you don't want to promote it to the point that students are coming or staff members feel like they have to come if they are experiencing COVID symptoms. So it's hard.
And every school does have, they incentivize attendance. At the middle school, I know they still do top 10 attendance. There are things at the high school that students, if they're at good attendance, they get to take advantage of that others may not. So there are those kind of individual things that are out there. I think big picture, the most important thing is having a welcoming school environment where those kids feel nurtured and loved. And I do think we do a good job of that, generally speaking. We do have to target some of those, but that we know are habitual attendance issues. Back in January, I printed off some lists of students and sent those to all admins at schools, and we've met with those families. Today we had, and this is again, could potentially punitive side, but we had truancy diversion meeting. We met with 11 families, coordinated workers, family resources in there, counselors, Mr. Phillips, Ms. Brandy Smith. We were all in there meeting with those families saying, hey, what can we do? What can we do to get you here? What can we do to support you? And the court designated worker, that office that works with us with TDP, they've got a questionnaire that we go through for every one of those students. So they've got resources that we utilize along with family resource and some of these others. They're talking about the Check and Connect program. That's a wonderful program that we've utilized, not just with those two grade levels, but with other, at the middle school, we had that. So some of those things, targeting those students that may have an extra challenge for whatever reason, with attendance. Making that more of an emphasis across the board. And coming at it really from all levels, yes, incentivizing, but also, it's the law, you gotta come to school, so.
Is that new, is that House Bill, what's the number on that bill, do you know?
Off the top of my head, I don't know.
Oh, I had it up, I'm sorry. Hold on. 703. Is that when you're talking about the ADA to ADM? Mm-hmm. House Bill 703.
And I don't know too many school folks that are opposed to that one.
We just need Senate Bill 1 to pass. Too.
Thank you, I was just curious about
I
that.
thought I was gonna get off and not have to say a whole lot.
Yeah.
I told Jenny, I said, I'm not on the agenda, I'm just gonna sit here quiet. Jenny said, well, you'll talk before it's over.
She was right.
She's kind of been sitting there like,
So.
I had a couple of questions. This was interesting to me on, I think Ms. Willis, this would be to you, on the homeschool. Like, so I knew they didn't get funding, but it says that they could receive services.
So
what
as
would
a
that
Title
look like?
I district, we have to offer services where we receive Title I federal money. The money is for students in that district that are Title I eligible. So if we send out letters of intent to all of our homeschool students in any private schools, and we don't have any of those in the district, but in Kentucky, a homeschool is a private school. So we have to send out a letter and ask them if they would like to receive any services. We have a deadline that they have to respond by. And what we are going to offer is a PD set up for those individuals that would be interested in some kind of service to help them with writing, or reading, or math services. That's because that's kind of what Title I will service.
Give an example of what type of services you're talking about.
So we would come in, and if they wanted to come in, we could train them on high quality instructional services, how to find some good resources, how to write some good formative assessments, how to look at data, those kinds of things.
And I guess the only reason I'm asking, I had someone approach me, it's been months ago, that their child went to it's not a private school, but like a daycare, and but they could no longer receive like speech language pathology, those services, and they even said, well, you're a Title, and I was like, okay.
That's a different part, those other related services, but a Title I is on instructional.
Services, yes.
So that's considered special ed.
So does that make a difference if they're enrolled in an accredited or not accredited program? Because with what I do, I see a lot of kids that are enrolled in homeschools that are not accredited.
The money is for the students in this district.
Just, okay.
Yes, yeah.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter one way.
And I'm assuming very few take advantage of that.
Why I've asked, nobody has ever taken advantage of that. Yes. Well, we make it clear that you don't receive the funding for that, you receive the services.
We send those out every year. Actually, yesterday and today, we sent a bunch of them out. I don't know, quite a few letters.
Yeah.
And since the last couple of years, we've not had any return wanting that. They'll call sometimes and ask.
So that has been something that's been done for years, that we've sent that letter out?
My other question was, Brandon, I was just curious on, will we buy new Chromebooks for the kindergarten coming in? So what happens like with the senior Chromebooks?
So now we'll collect those, so we're still in the cycle where those are not brand new devices. So those are not new, so we'll collect the senior ones. Yeah, they don't stay with the student. They can't do that because we looked at that before, because it would've been nice to send that on, but they're tied to us, tied to our domain, the warranty's tied to us.
So those would just turn into like replacements or
collect
something
those,
like that.
and they'll save us down the road with the price of chargers and the price of screens and the price of lots of prices.
So, but as we use the touch screen for pre-K and kindergarten?
Pre-K is not one-to-one, they have some available in their classroom.
Okay.
But we're not one-to-one in pre-K, cause they'll use them some, but they can't much. But just kindergarten is touchscreen. But then, right now, we have kindergarten and first grade that are touchscreen.
So the kindergarten will take those to first grade?
They'll keep their own. If I wouldn't promise that if it broke in first grade, that we would give them back another touchscreen, right? But the idea is, the students can't read in kindergarten. They need more hands-on, literally, right? By the time they get to first grade, they might not get that, but if they don't break their device or something happens, then yes, they keep the device. And they'll keep that until fifth grade. And then our replacement schedule is kindergarten, a new one in fifth grade, and a new one in new device will be given to them in ninth grade. And that helps us with the warranties to try to make the best use of those warranties. So it keeps us from doing, well, of course, there's lots of breakages. You guys probably saw, if you saw my report, you said one day we sent back 45, and like now there's another 20 or 25. So it's not like we held those or anything. It's just constant all the time. So of course we knew that. Last year our breakage was about 10%, and now it's gonna be a lot higher than that. So we're working on a plan for how we're gonna deal with that. Yeah. So yeah.
I have one other thing. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I don't want you to take it that way. I'd really like maybe in the next few months if you could talk to us about what you want for instruction, because that's really the basis of what we're here for. And since Miss Carrie hired you, I'd like to hear what you got to say, what you see the future for us.
Yes, so we have been working very hard at the elementary school. As you know, you approved the purchase for Benchmark as their reading curriculum K through 5. We have provided teachers with several different training opportunities to get very familiar with the program, because they have come back and said, okay, we need more training on how to correctly implement it. We're using that as our big program in reading. It is very evidence-based, which is what KDE is pushing. It really aligns with the phonemic awareness that teaches kids how to read and decode and break down words, getting them ready to reading for learning. And that's going to create a great pathway into middle school when they start those language arts classes. And in math, the same thing, really start that vertical alignment and really get a really good curriculum for Rockcastle County elementary schools that leads straight into the middle school. Because there's quite a few transient kids, and if we have a consistent curriculum for all the elementary schools, they won't move from school to school and have big gaps, and that's something that we can fix and we can take care of here. And then, like Mr. Bussell was talking, have that vertical alignment with all contents 6th through 12th grade, because even down to 6th grade, I was a former 6th grade teacher. It's good to know where they're going when they get to their junior or senior year, those pathways that are available. So you know exactly which strands and domains that you really need to hit home on, and really tell them, when you get here, you're going to really need to know this. So really just start that vertical alignment with high quality resources and assessments in every classroom, regardless of the teacher.
Jessica has formed committees working with all 3 of our elementary schools, so they're coming together to work on curriculum documents and pacing guides, informative and summative assessments. So they've started that work. They're going to continue that work through the summer and be able to roll that out. So all of our elementary teachers, a first-year teacher will be able to say, here's your curriculum, here's your documents, here's your standards, here's your pacing guide. And that will be the same whether it's at Roundstone, Mount Learning, or Broadhead. So all of the teachers are working together. Those elementary principals are working, and then our middle school and high school are also working, just like Mr. Bussell referenced, a vertical alignment. So Jessica's been doing all of that, and in addition to that, they're working on our response to intervention, which now has a new name, which is MTSS. It's the same, it's just a name change that also includes behavior interventions. So she's working to streamline that across the whole district as well. So there's other teachers working with her. We have representatives from all schools working on that to look at intervention work. So we can do a presentation next month though.
I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I guess, since we are, thank God, getting a little bit of normal back in schools, I'm going to say for the last 2 years, I feel like we've not really focused on instruction. And at one time, I always felt like that was what our focus was always on. So I'd just like to hear how you plan on implementing all this. And as a parent, it just gives me hope and a security in knowing what type of education my child is going to receive.
So, Ms. Carey was talking about the document. Yes, we have purchased Benchmark, and that was quite a bit of money. Yes, we have purchased Ready, and that was quite a bit of money. And again, we're gonna use this 20% learning loss money to purchase textbooks for the middle school and high school. But Kentucky does not recognize textbooks. We teach the Kentucky Core Academic Standards, and we use a program to teach the standards, so it's always going back to, or am I really addressing what's in the standard, to the depth of the standard? Does my curriculum teach this, and where are the gaps that I need to fill in and supplement with?
Well, thank you. I look forward to hearing from you. We'll put Ms. Hubbard on the spot. We forget to ask things from you ladies. Miss Carey?
As you all know, on the Tuesdays of board meeting nights, I meet with the Superintendent Advisory Committee. We meet prior to this meeting, and really, of all things, I know that was on my professional growth plan to implement that, but it's just been really remarkable and a super support to me, and I hope that it is benefiting our schools as well. But we are working, this group, we're working to plan a district-wide PD day that will be at the beginning of school year next year, which will be August the 5th. We were getting lots of feedback that teachers wanted to be able to attend, have some choice in their professional development. So if I'm a music teacher, I may not always want to go to PD about language arts and math. So offering some choice. So each one of these superintendent advisory members have surveyed their school. They've asked, what topics would you like to see us provide PD for? And then we're also asking our teachers, would you be willing to present? Because we have the best teachers in Rockcastle County Schools, and we need to build on the expertise that we have. We don't always need to go outside to get people to come in and teach us. We have people right here in our district they're excellent and they excel in their area. So we're looking for presenters, but we're going to plan a full day. This group is helping with that. Really excited about that. I think it'll be a great opportunity to showcase our teachers and showcase our skills and giving them an opportunity to share with their colleagues about their strengths. So excited, very excited about that. This group, we're also going to have an end of the year staff cookout. So on the last day of school, which is a half a day, we're going to be planning a cookout for all staff at the football field. So we'd like to make certain that you all are invited, and we'll give you more information about that.
So I'm gonna volunteer the whole crew. Can we
I
help
think we
serve?
need to serve.
Yeah,
Yes.
we talked about that at
We
our
talked
meeting.
about this
We
in
wanted to
we
serve.
would really love to serve
Yes.
them.
Yes, so
Our appreciation.
Yes.
I think that's a
guys gotta cook,
wonderful.
probably.
Yeah, we'll let you grill hot dogs, Matt. Before
Let's get him one of them hats.
Before
Yeah.
Miss Jamie leaves, I'm gonna see if I can get her to assist us in creating a new t-shirt design with our new vision statement, Rocket learners to Rocket leaders. And then at our end of the year staff cookout, we can provide each teacher a new t-shirt to wear. Then they can wear that to their August 5th PD as we come back. So just trying to plan some end of the year stuff and some beginning of the year activities for our staff. I mean, we can never do enough to show our appreciation for them. Just like Mr. Bussell said, it's been a very rough 2 years. So anything we can do to promote camaraderie and bring our staff together, because we're all here for our kids. And we just need to keep encouraging and I'm really excited about this PD day. I think in talking with the group today, and Miss Erin Grace is a part of that group. She's here with us, but just knowing, how much each teacher respects the other teachers within their building and how they're so willing to say, well, Miss So-and-so is awesome at this, or Mr. So-and-so is awesome at this. I want to hear what they have to say. And I think that's gonna be a really great event. So we'll invite you all to come and take part of that as well. One more thing, would you all mind to look at your calendars to see if you're available for a work session on before next board meeting on the Monday prior to the board meeting, so we can come together.
So that's on the 11th.
At what time, Miss Carrie?
I'm flexible, what time we can keep 6 o'clock, or we can leave early, or whatever works best for you all as far as your work schedules.
5 and after is good with me. I don't know about everybody else. That's about as early as I could get
There's a
there.
meeting here that day, I think until 4:30.
So we'll
One
need to
that
say
you're
5,
at?
probably.
Well, maybe we ought to get you a sandwich or something.
Curriculum work meeting.
Okay.
I'm good on the 11th.
It's good time for you. 5 or later.
It's any good, I think.
I'd say 5 if everyone can
I'm
make
good
it
with
at 5.
I can make it by 5.
I'm good by 5.
All right.
Honolulu.
Yep, 5 o'clock then on the 11th, we'll have a work session.
Okay.
All right, that's all that I have.
Matt, you have anything?
I just wanted to say it was great to see all the Read Across America stuff last week. I saw lots of social media, and I know we had some folks, Ms. Bounds participated. I was a little upset, Mr. Reppert, that you didn't wear the cat in the hat while you read, but it was, it is
There's a
good.
whole suit in this river. Remind me next year.
I have one also, and thing 1 and 2.
Keep open the can of worms.
And my mother would want me to say publicly on the record that getting children interested in reading at an early age is very important, and so it's awesome that we had that much enthusiasm. Appreciate our elementary teachers and the work they do to do that.
It's lots of fun. And kids just love it. They love having us guest readers. It's great.
Miss Angie?
I was inspired by Mr. Bussell I love listening to every meeting we have of school here. But I think it would be wonderful if we could have just like a little bit of every school. I don't mean a presenter, I just mean like a little update, kind of like a department report. What do you all think? Because I know I get snippets, and I don't mean a lot, just like, hey, this is going on at Mount Vernon. I may be.
Are you meaning like a report or like a presentation?
No, just a report, nothing.
2 or 3 sentences.
Yeah. Because you've asked, because we only get to see them however many schools we have.
I would like to see us going back to the schools again now that
I
really enjoy, like, to go and see what's on their walls, what the kids are putting up, what's changed. I mean, I just feel we need to go back and be that face there.
We can go next month if you all would like. We can arrange that, and I'll talk to
And you get to hear all the
principals
good,
Yeah.
but we're for the bad too. We're for all of it. So we need to hear it all.
One other thing I want to ask is, and several of you have mentioned it, do you all want to go back to department reports being shared out?
I prefer that. And just like I said, I don't know if I've only heard Miss Hubbard speak one time. You're so
I
quiet.
enjoyed it more when they presented to us.
Yeah, I would like it.
Okay, okay.
I mean, they may not like it. I guess it's left up to them. They're the ones having to give the report, so.
They're doing that, they're getting their department reports ready, so I'm sure everybody's passionate about their department and would like to share. I mean, there's great stuff going on.
I'd say tell us 2 or 3 things that you need us to know. I mean, we're going to read the stuff, but tell us the 2 or 3 things that you need us to know, good, bad, or ugly. And if there's a need, we've said that 2 or 3 times tonight, but if you have a need, tell us. We don't have a magic bullet, and Jenny doesn't have a blank check, but if there's something we can do, please tell us, and
That's a good way
we'll
to
try.
think of it as the schools too. Just, put little highlights.
3
Yeah.
minutes. 3 minutes. You're
Put it up on the screen.
You're not gonna be in charge of that.
That means we would.
Why is everybody staring at Mr. Reppert when you said that?
I didn't talk that much tonight.
You're good.
Lucy, do you have anything, dear?
I'm good. Thank you all.
Anna?
Thank you all for all you always do.
I have one thing. This is just something I'd like for you to relay a message. Miss Willis, this might be your, I have 2 adult daughters, but they have a lot of friends, and every single one that I have ever talked to that has graduated from our schools have all expressed one concern. They feel like as a school district, we should make more of an effort to reach out to them and teach them about life fundamentals, interest rates, bank loans, checking accounts, savings, real life things. And I know that this is probably not something that you can add to the curriculum, But it may be something that we could teach after school or offer some type of program so that
Wasn't
we,
that those life skills in the home ec
I
when we
think
were in
that they
school?
touch very little on it. And
Years ago when we
years
were in
ago,
school.
yeah. And, you know, as a parent, I must have failed my daughters because I'll never forget the first job that my oldest daughter had. She brought her check home and she was so proud of it. And I was like, well, what taxes did they take out on you? You know, I was just, and she goes, what in the world is FICA? You know, so they don't understand about 401ks. They don't understand about paying into a retirement. And I just think as a district that may be something that we could do. Might have 10 kids that learns something.
Do we ever do like a orientation classes for our freshmen, like you do in colleges?
Yes. Yes, we do that
Okay.
every summer. Yes.
Or like throughout the year? They don't have anything specific that they have to touch upon weekly or anything throughout their school year? I didn't know if that was something they could do.
Have, that name is leaving me.
I can't,
the
but there's a
mentor
group
Oh, yeah,
of juniors and seniors
Yes, that.
and they can contact them back through the.
Link crew.
Link crew.
I know some schools
Good job.
have that orientation. Just was thinking if that was anything we could build upon.
And maybe even gear up.
Yeah,
Build
can build
upon,
upon something monthly, learn about.
Yeah,
in the
well,
contact.
I just think that it's something that, you know, we expect our children to go to colleges and get jobs, but, you know, I think that we're missing a little aspect of what being an adult's all about, and we could maybe help them.
And you could even, if it is allowed, get outside people to teach these classes.
Well, you know, I was thinking about, okay.
We even had that at the hospital for employees.
I would
Or
hate to put him on the spot. Corey Craig. He's at every sporting event. He loves kids. He's the president of the bank. Maybe he would be willing to.
He likes to talk.
He likes to talk. I mean, maybe he would be willing to, you know, talk to some kids about that. So
And Miss
I don't know.
Angie, if you'll remember, we just started, this is our first year of having JAG in our high school, and they teach that. That is very much a part of their curriculum and modeling all of that. And so we are in the process of advocating for a JAG position in our middle school, where we've contacted the JAG of Kentucky, and they, just like all of us, are waiting on funding from the legislature. But if they receive the funding that they're expected to receive, then we're hopeful that we're gonna be able to expand that to the middle school. So that's very much a part of their curriculum is that work.
And they've got a club, and so all those students this year, even if they don't have Mr. Schaefer next year, and they probably will, but even if they don't, those students next year would be still part of that program, so it doesn't go away. And even after they graduate, that
Tracks
next
them
year,
for 2 years after
he
graduation
has to,
and
he has
offers
to
that.
track them and help them.
Does that touch every child, or is that just certain
It's
children?
a course that they sign up for, just, you know, it's a course.
But it's not, yeah, it's not every student.
Yeah, it's not every, but it is.
I just think that, you know, we have so many opportunities that we are, and our schools are great. I mean, that I think that is something that we've maybe not done what we could have done over the years.
I think too, during that, when juniors are testing in the spring, maybe, I know it's usually what do we do with the seniors? It might be something for them to think about, just a Life 101, you know, do that may be something to just throw out there, because I know that's historically entertaining the seniors while everybody else tests is a monumental challenge, so.
Sure.
Good idea.
The only other thing I just want to say that I appreciate all of you very much, and thank you for everything you do for the kids. And Miss Jamie, I am truly going to miss you. You have just been a blessing. I just can't sing your praises enough, and I'm so happy for you, though. I'm happy that you're pursuing something that you love, and so.
Something I never thought I'd be doing with this much time in, but I think it's time for a change. I said I wasn't gonna get emotional. I do appreciate all of you all and everybody in this room. And Jenny's pretty much raised me from the time I was 17. So,
Yeah.
and I've been with Brandon since vocational school and the high school, so kind of like brother and sister. We're just really close. So
strong relationships in this room that I'll miss. But I'll be here, but I'll still miss the daily interaction.
Well, you've been a blessing, so I just want you to know, and I truly can't imagine finding anybody that can replace the work that you have done for Rockcastle County Schools. So I do appreciate you. And Kayla, you're so quiet over there, but I'm glad that you're here. Yeah, yeah. And Brandon, you know I appreciate you too. Yeah. Okay. I told everybody else, I didn't tell you. Miss Erin, thank you for always coming to our meetings and showing how much Rockcastle County Schools means to you. And with that, I just need a motion to adjourn.
Yep.
First and second. All in favor?